under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Alderman Dudo. Here. Alderman Servant.
Here.
Alderman Helms. Absent. Alderman Rosenwald.
Here.
Left them out by agenda. You guys want to read your package and check that out. Anybody got any questions or want to modify or add anything to amend?
No, make a motion to approve the agenda.
Actually, we need to amend that for Brian's resignation, so three you guys accept that, because he's not going to show up. For personal reasons, yeah, some other things going on. So, yeah, in your packet, you should have a printout. Another letter, so.
This is the letter, it's not in there.
Do you want to share with one another? If not, I can make copies.
Motion to accept that, Mr. Helms.
Yeah, I would make a motion to accept this resignation.
I'll do the motion.
Listen.
Kathy Curley, second, all in favor? Any opposed? Approval of agenda, documents, that you can move that.
Yeah, I make a motion to agenda.
We have a second?
A second.
Motion made, second, all in favor? Motion made, second, all in favor?
Yeah,
Any opposed? Alright. Approval of consent agenda, which is minutes from previous meeting, treasurer's report, collector's report, bills and payments, appropriate expenses as they come due. Is there a motion on that, or you guys can kind of go over the reconciles?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made, second, Alderman Rosenberg, all in favor? Any opposed?
Could you speak up a little bit?
I know, I got a little hoarse, I got cough drop. Sorry, I'll try my best, Joanne.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's get number 6. Public forum. Do we want to start with the fire district, since we got several members of them here? So if you guys.
Sure.
All right, so, I guess, Frankie, you want to introduce everybody and give them the floor?
Anyways, this is Kevin, we call him Mad Dog, that's what I've known him by for years. He's the director of the district. Anyways, then Brett Schimmer, he's I guess. Committee member. Yeah, committee member. And then Ken Steiger, he's actually the chief of St. John Fire Department. They're going through the same thing as we are as a municipality, switching over to the district. So anyways, I'll let Kevin speak here, and you guys can ask questions or whatever you guys need to know. So.
My name is Kevin Morrow, so I'm on behalf of the St. John County Fire Protection District. We're here to answer any questions that you guys may have tonight about the fire district that passed by the voters. I have here a final order judgment decree for corporation, if you guys would like to see that. That explains a lot, and the director's names are all listed in there, dates and everything.
That's when you guys are all the memorandum and everything.
Yeah, we're all 5 directors are now sworn
Yeah.
Yeah, so our first official meeting will be on the 21st of this month. We're having some planning meetings in the meantime. We have a lot of things organized in the district, obviously, command structure, and we have to go in, president, chairman, and secretary, and all that stuff yet too, so.
Yeah, it takes time.
It'll take a little bit of time, a little bit of work, insurance, get banking figured out and all that stuff too, so. That's where we're at right now with the district, so if anybody has any questions, we're here to answer anything. Right now, it looks like everybody and all the other fire departments in the county is turning over everything, all the equipment in the buildings and everything to the district. So the district will be paying for insurance, maintenance on the buildings, upkeep on trucks, equipment, put together a truck replacement plan. All of our trucks are aging right now. Everything needs some tender loving care and some looking at. I can tell you St. Mary's and Kinsey are two departments that will be first looked at getting a new truck, getting a replacement truck, because they're both got really aging equipment. So that's what we're looking at. Anybody got any questions or anything? You got anything to add?
I don't really have anything to add. The plan is to switch over, officially begin operating as a fire district August 1st. Organization, so that's the tentative plan as of now. And then, like I said, we just want to come down and answer any questions you guys may have about what's going on and what needs to happen in the future.
You guys got any questions on your end?
Yeah, as I understand it, we have like more of a unique scenario here with our town because the property that the fire station's on and the equipment and stuff belongs to the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering what the exchange would be so that, because it's not just here's our old equipment, we're getting new stuff. Since real estate's involved and buildings, etc., how do we get recompense for that?
Well, that depends on how you guys want to handle that. I mean, you guys can decide if you want to donate that to the county, to the fire protection district, or if you want us to work out some other kind of plan or something.
Yeah, I know we have I think the chamber, and was it the St. Mary Community Building Foundation called? So there's most of, I guess.
No city tax dollars used to build that.
So the city paying nothing, no rent, no nothing?
The tag and donations from,
Did they pay rent or anything? Somebody said it was
we
rent.
donated land to them.
I know you guys own my land.
The land was donated by
Chamber.
the Chamber of Commerce,
Okay.
and we formed that St. Mary Community Building Association,
Mhm.
and we got our loan from USDA,
Mhm.
and we paid it back with the fire tags every year until it was paid for. And it was really the Community Building Association's building. It was never the city did not put any money into that building. It was owned by us, but we signed it over because it was the St. Mary Fire Department. We signed it over to the city. And the inside of the building, the chamber donated a large amount of money to have the inside done. And the firemen did the rest of the work that they could do. There was no money from the city.
So somebody said there was rent paid at one time. That's what I was trying to, rent paid?
Rent.
Rent? It said like rent payment or,
We do.
I don't know, it says rent
I don't know, I've never heard of it.
Back to for that USDA thing, they paid for that, like,
We
so,
signed it over to the city,
oh, I don't.
free and clear.
It should
And nobody ever paid
be,
rent.
the records and everything should all be in clerk's
Okay.
office. And the rest of the stuff should be in the city minutes, of what
Okay.
happened. And the other thing I want to say too is the one fire truck, the last one I think, I don't know which one.
Shit.
They paid rent.
Yeah, we got it from Eureka Fire Department, and the
Okay.
chamber paid for all of it. We
Now,
paid
how much?
$15,000 for that truck in 2014.
So the total truck was 50,000. Okay. Mark that down. I didn't know, I know it said it in paper, but I can't find any archives or anything.
It's in the minutes of the meeting.
Just take it back that far, you know.
Yeah.
There were several prices talked at one time, but when the final were, I don't remember the dollar on the final, but what we did get for it, but we paid it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's a matter of minutes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
We know it goes back past 1999 because my brother died back during Tennessee. They were working on the electric, putting the electric in then, so we have to go back that far in the night.
99.
As far as the transfer, Chief Steiger may have a little bit better insight on that since he is dealing with the city of St. Genevieve also. So
we asked Chief.
that's why we asked him to come and join us tonight so he can speak a little bit on how they're handling it in the city as well.
During our talk with the city council up there, before we ever decided to do the fire district thing, we were talking about what we were going to do. And the city council signed a resolution that they're going to turn over all city fire department assets to the district at no cost to the district. And the reason being, first of all, if they keep it, they're going to have to try to sell it, and it's going to take a while to sell all that stuff, so they're going to be tied up. They're going to have to keep insurance and everything on it, so it's better to keep it in use with the people that it's protecting right now and just make a transition over. As far as the building, they haven't signed the papers on any of this stuff yet, but they want to do a $1 a year lease to the district. That way they maintain ownership of the building. If you sell the building, then you're going to be, or if you rent the building out, you're going to be responsible for upkeep, maintenance, insurance, and everything on the building. This way, by them doing the lease to us as a St. Genevieve Fire District, we have to maintain it, we have to pay the insurances, we have to take care of everything on it. It's not the city having to maintain it. And they maintain ownership, so if at any point in time the fire district outgrows the building or decides to move locations, the city still owns the building and they can use it for whatever at that point. Could be potentially public works or whatever down the road. But the reason they did that, or doing it that way, is they maintain ownership of the building and they don't have to worry about maintenance or anything on it. So, and the trucks, like I said, they basically said it's going to benefit the community keeping the stuff there. It's there for a reason. We bought what we bought because of certain reasons, and to get rid of it would handicap the fire district because then they have to start off negative money trying to get this thing operational. So it could actually hurt your citizens by selling the equipment and having to purchase. So it takes away some of the operating budget that we have to operate off of.
So, I don't believe we were proposing that we were going to sell off the equipment or anything like that. My logic on it would be there's a building with equipment in it and it's going to the district, I guess, and the district would exchange with us. In what way for that exchange other than the coverage extension?
That would be more of a question for them, but what I would see from an outsider looking at it, you're going to continue fire protection. If you don't do that, there's nothing to say that the fire district is going to maintain a firehouse down here. They could potentially pull it and say, hey, we can't afford that right now, so they may pull the fire department out of this section of your town. I can't speak for them because that's the decision they would have to make, but I can see that as a potential that we can't afford a building and this equipment right now, so we'll do with what we can from Ozora coming in. So you're talking an extended response times to your people, so there's a potential bad situation for your people if that happens that way.
Now, Ken, I got a donated truck, I helped get a donated truck in Frankie from Goose Creek, but there was constituents that if the truck ever got rid of it, had to go to another department.
And we would still honor all that stuff. Yeah, we would absolutely honor all that stuff.
That was under Bob Reeves.
Yeah.
And that was always, that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering about that too.
Well, I'm sure that as long as it's staying here and doing what it was brought here to do, they wouldn't have a problem with it. Okay. And then it would be up to the district at that point to pass it on whenever the transition's made, once they get it.
I never go to the scrapyard,
Yeah.
after all that, and what the agreement made, and Frankie knows that as well. So, and they still ask about it,
Yeah, as long as it's being used for what it was brought down here for, I'm sure they would not have a problem with it, and I'm sure the district would honor that agreement.
Yeah, we would most definitely honor that agreement, when we understood that already, that was a donated truck to the city.
Yeah.
And it needs to be given away to somebody else if the city decides to get rid of that truck.
Yeah.
I mean, the departments all have conservation vehicles right now that are conservation owned. Almost everybody's got a brush truck or something that is conservation owned, and if we have two of them, and we have a little van that's conservation owned, but we pay them, we have them in service, we're at Weingarten's using them, but if we decide to, then we have to give it to another department, or it goes back to conservation department. It's their matching funds and their surplus property program that they have. So we're familiar with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just want to make sure because that was agreement.
yeah.
Bob passed away.
Yeah, and that can all be in writing and be recorded and
So-
be in our minutes and everything too, you know, so.
That'd be something that, and we're getting started in the process up there now, is that our fire district attorney is gonna work with the city attorney and figure out all the legal aspects on what paperwork needs to be done and doing it legally according to both, so they both understand what's going on.
You guys have your own representation then, I guess.
Yeah, we-
District with, that would work with ours.
Correct.
Yes.
We actually share the same lawyer. We share the exact same lawyer, and she is currently, it's a little bit more complicated as a district for the county district versus the city, because there's 6 different departments that are combining.
Yeah.
So she has to work with each one to try to get the paperwork and everything lined up. So she will be getting with us, getting all the paperwork together, and she may, whoever your guys' city attorney is, get in contact with him and get whatever paperwork needs to be lined up. She specializes in dealing with fire districts, is what she specializes in.
That was the main thing, because I think we're the only municipality that funds the fire.
With the county district, yes.
Yeah, we are the only one.
Bloomsdale's not incorporated, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's kind of a.
Right.
then,
Right.
You know, everybody being built and domain with tags and all that, that's where it came into play. So I guess you guys got any other questions on this?
What's the chamber's position in this?
You feel that?
Yeah. What's your position on this?
My position,
Yes.
I really think that you should donate all everything, because you're not gonna save any money by keeping it. You have to pay for it, you have to keep, if something that drastically goes wrong with that building out there, you're gonna make a large expense. That building's not really young, new anymore. I know it's about 25 years old, maybe not quite that old, but, personally, from being with the city for years, I think you should shed it all. I think you should give it all to the district and be part of it.
Thank you. And the fire district, does that include everybody in the county?
Yes, yeah, so 6 departments merge together to form one fire district.
With the exception of the St. John City, the rural portion they cover. There's a small portion of western end of the county that Wolf Creek Fire Protection District covers, and then another small portion that Big River Fire, which same deal, they just incorporated the
They
city.
just incorporated to Wolf Creek's been a fire district for 40 years.
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
It initially started with all 7 departments trying to do it. And the reason we couldn't participate is because the insurance, the ISO people that audit you, we are class 4 in the city of St. Genevieve. If I would have joined the county, the lower ratings in the county would have dragged my 4 down to a 6. So there's no way I can justify that with the city. So we've been working together on the thing the entire time. It's no animosity between us. They have meetings, we attend them. We have meetings, they attend. So we're working together on this thing. It's that critical to the operation of this county. And it's not going to change anything in the way we operate. Right now, we have automatic mutual aid. When St. Mary has a fire call for a house fire, they're getting Ozora, and they're also getting St. Jen automatically. And it's not going to change anything. We're still going to keep operating that same way. The only thing that's going to change in your fire protection is eventually, hopefully, newer equipment and a better funding source, a guaranteed funding source to keep the thing operational and take the responsibility off the city and give it to the county fire district for liabilities, insurances, and all that kind of stuff.
So administratively, do you have different new staff coming in to handle the different departments, or how do you distribute?
So the county's operating on a 5-person director board, so there'll be 5 people on there, and then the city is operating on a 3.
We've got 3 for the smaller areas.
There's 3 because they're a smaller district, so they will really run with 3. So you can either 3 or 5. We being a larger district, we tried to pull some people from different parts of the county to become directors, so that's how we arrived at 5, which is what the state statute allows.
Did I hear you say that your attorney, the fire district attorney is the same as the city attorney?
Yeah, same as what we're using, same as Bonter.
Does that represent a conflict of interest?
No.
We're separate.
We're separate.
We're separate.
Yeah. We're using the same attorney for both fire districts because she specialized in the fire district. But they will work, in our case, she will work with our city attorney to come to a happy medium on all the legal stuff.
The city attorney is not the same as the...
No, the fire district attorney and city attorney will be working together as two separate entities. Same way with your city.
Just like down here, she's like Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah.
She's working with Mark, I guess.
We haven't sat down with her. We've been trying to get a meeting in for her. I think we're going to have her next Wednesday. And the city administrator happy and a couple of the aldermen. And we're not sure if Mark will be there, but the intention is to have her and Mark talking because they know what's going on.
Oh, you got a question here.
Mr. Dazzy?
All these years, we took care of Cassie Island. What's gonna happen there?
Frank, you know what...
So anyways, we will work with Valerie on that, and the directors, the board. So what we're gonna have to do is, I know we got a mutual aid agreement right now where we sell fire tax to them and we do the protection over there. Anyways, that's through Randolph County, through the mutual aid agreement with them. So what we have to do is we'll have to contact E911 over there and get a mutual aid agreement where we can possibly do a contract to take care of them over there. So it'll still be, they pay like a fire tag, but it'd be a contract
But
pay.
it goes into the...
Yes.
It'll go into the district.
It'll still be under a mutual aid agreement,
Right.
but we will provide fire protection services for them.
Big River Fire District over in northwestern St. John County is going through the same thing. Big River Fire Protection District covers rural Bonne Terre area. The city of Bonne Terre did not participate in the fire district. So what their plan is the city of Bonne Terre will contract with the district for coverage. So it's basically the same thing you're going to be looking at here with Kaskaskia. Randolph County, or however they arrange that, will have a contract with the district to cover
Okay,
that area.
Can I ask you now, St. Mary's always sold tags to Perry County too, outside here. And, you know, Perry County does come, but then if they got a fire tag, our department responds. What is going to happen to the money that the city collected for fire tags for people that bought them this year?
That will go into the, well, I can't really speak for them that much, but it's the same thing for St. Genevieve. The fire tags that were collected right now are going to go into their operating funds. Because the district, even though we were incorporated on the 22nd of April, will not collect any actual taxes from the county until after the first of the year. So they're using what they've collected in fire tags this year so far to operate to get out to that point of the fire district money coming in at the end of the year.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
I'm Jessica, I'm the new city clerk, so I'm pretty new to all of this. But I have had some residents ask me about fire tags, particularly those that live on the outskirts of St. Mary. They're buying a St. Mary City fire tag, and Perry County recently has sent letters out requesting that they buy a Perry County fire tag. So are they going to have to buy a St. Genevieve County fire tag also?
So if they're a Perry County resident, they will buy fire tags in Perry County. They reside within St. James County, they will not purchase a fire tag. It will be funded through the taxes that you receive at the end of the year. That's how it will be funded. So there will be no more fire tags. If you get any questions on that, if they're a St. James County resident, they will not receive a fire tag.
They've sent a lot of letters out. Even people that have purchased, it just keeps expanding closer and closer to our mutual aid area. And people have paid for both. Some people pay for both.
So basically the way it's set up now is Perry County is at the county line. So they sent out letters stating, and that's another kind of situation with the fire district going on because of funds, you know, and stuff. So before 911 went into effect, when 9/11 happened, we had, you know, jurisdiction out double in and down to Lithium. And anyways, whenever that 911 went into effect, that's whenever that started branching out of Perry County. Anyway, so we do have Perry County residents still buying fire tags. And whenever, you know, they got the letter, they come and talk to me. I said, hey, look, you can get your refund back or what? No, you guys are good to us. We're gonna let you, you know. And then I told them with the fire district happening, there will be no more fire tags that they'd have to buy. And it'd be all Perry County.
I did get that question today, and I obviously didn't answer that question. I told the resident that she would be here tonight because I didn't have that answer. And our fire tags expire on the 31st of December, so we will not be renewing them.
No, you're gonna have to send them out.
You guys will not have to do any funding for fire protection services. You won't have to raise any money for that or anything like that, so.
Part of the fire district operation and the petition to get it approved and everything is a legal description. The legal description of the boundaries covers exactly what it is now. So in St. Genevieve County, in the 6 areas outside the city of St. Genevieve, that is one district, and the legal description is on file now, so that is where it has to be. They can't,
I just have to get a copy of that.
they can't, they're not gonna be able to come in from Perry County and try to sell fire tags to people within the dedicated legal description boundaries. So the fire tags for St. Genevieve County are done. You won't see any more fire tags. The city doesn't have to, we were sending out, I think, 500 or 600 fire tags a year. So that's gonna free up our city treasurer and one of our city clerks too, because they don't have to go through the aggravation of having to mail them and collect them and track all that stuff too. So.
Thank you.
So what do we tell the residents in St. Mary when they come up and say, how much is my taxes going to be for fire? I mean, how do you figure?
So
What do we
it's
tell them?
part of the valuation of your tax, and it's 30 cents per 100. So you were familiar with that
Yeah,
chart.
so whenever they get their tax bill, or they can look it up online, go off your assessed valuation. It's 30
Home, their property.
your home and your property. So it's 30 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. So you take whatever your assessed valuation is, times it by 30 cents, then you multiply it by.
Buy that out by 100.
The easiest way to do it, folks, is tell them, look at last year's tax bill and look at the county roads, just road and bridge, that's 27 cents. So they're gonna be paying 3 cents on $100 more than what they're paying for county road district. That's what their fee will be.
That's the easiest way, but if they want specific numbers, it's multiplied by 0.3 divided by 100, I believe.
That sounds right. I'd have to look at my number.
I got a chart that I made up when we were going around doing promotional stuff for this with exact formulas.
And that's on assessed valuation too, it's not on market value.
Is that on real estate or personal property? Or
It's on real estate and personal property. That is a state statute. It has to be on real estate and personal property.
Okay.
And do you rotate staff from department to department?
As far as, I guess I'm a little,
Firemen, like from St. Genevieve, like let's say you determine there's a greater need in this area than.
so we're all volunteer still, so we don't necessarily rotate staff per se. I guess whatever house you would, and this is obviously it's going to be operational. We're going to have to figure out once we get our command staff 100% established, we're going to determine most likely what area you live in. Like, you know, Frankie here, he lives down in St. Mary's, so he's going to be responsible for the firehouse here in St. Mary's and serving the residents of St. Mary's. Large scale incidents, like he mentioned, you're going to have multiple different people coming from different areas into the city to help fight fires on large scale incidents. So, does that answer your question?
I think one thing you might be looking at is, is there plans to hire full-time people and that kind of stuff somewhere down the road maybe, but you're not going to see any change in the operation. You're still going to have volunteers that are responding to the station they're assigned to and then going out to help others. You may actually see 2 departments running on a call that one department used to only run on just to make sure we have enough manpower. But
Correct.
there's not going to be any full-time people, so it's not going to be St. Gen has more money, so St. Gen's going to send a full-time person out to cover Zell or something like that. It's going to be volunteers yet, because even the city of St. Genevieve, if we get lucky, we might have a full-time chief. Other than that, we're not going to have any full-time people for a couple of years either, because it's going to take time to get the finances built up and get a reserve, so we have something in case we start having something break down, and we need a vehicle replacement program too. So I don't foresee anybody even in St. Genevieve City for the next year or 2 full-time. So that's just a goal for down the road.
And are there models of this in other counties as well?
This is, I would say this is probably, well, the way we were doing it is probably, I would say very old school, very outdated. Jefferson County, St. Louis County, most of St. Francis County, all your bigger, more well-established counties are all tax-funded fire departments and ambulance services. Yeah.
And I have a meeting Monday at lunch with the city administrator from the city of Perryville. They're looking into becoming a fire district too. He wants to, quote unquote, pick my brain on how we went about it and what all the process is. So the city of Perryville is looking at potentially doing a fire district too. And if they do that, I'm sure because Perry County that's right next door, they're gonna consider it too, so.
So you and Brent are meeting for that, is it Brent? You gonna be met?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brent, and I guess would that consolidate with you guys then?
No, there's no consolidation there. Still, you follow the district boundaries.
Okay.
And they would be Perry County Rural or Perryville City.
Yeah.
And then we would discuss things and they can ask questions on how we went about doing things, but they have to do all that work on their own. They have to set it up, they have to run the elections, they have to do all that. And unless there is the potential, it's probably never gonna happen in my lifetime, but there is potential that districts can merge after they're formed, but that has to go to a vote of the public. So if somewhere down the road, the county can bring their ISO rating closer to the city, maybe they decide to go countywide, but it has to go back to a vote of the public to merge St. Genevieve Fire District with St. Genevieve County. Can't be done without a vote of the public.
Like Dave River.
Yeah, correct.
Years ago.
So let's say the chamber organized the development of the fire department, building it out, staffing it, et cetera. And, let's just go into the future 20 years, the community grows, and now there's a greater demand for services, and there's a lot, I guess, laid out for the fire department building. Is there a room for, what would happen in a scenario like that? I mean, if there's,
Well, if the community grows, then there's gonna be more people, there's gonna be more tax money coming into the district, so there would be room for expansion in those situations.
and then physically, is there room for you guys to grow at that location? I mean, is it more of a-
I think so as well.
Fire department?
We actually came down and took a look at the firehouse last week,
Yeah.
one night, and we all kind of agreed that there's room to grow if there was a need to grow. And we fully anticipate that. I mean, we're growing, people are moving more and more south, or north out of Cape, whichever way you want to look at it, we are growing. So there's a real possibility that we are going to need to expand in the future. And that's ultimately one of the driving forces of why we decided to go tax district versus fire tax. So,
Frankie, is this gonna have any effect on first responders and medical emergencies?
Not totally. I mean, there's gonna be some changes on a few things, but there's not gonna be, if it's not, so right now, our policy is, if it's, cardiac arrest or anything like that, we respond. Where it's gonna be possibly a fall without injury or anything, it's probably not gonna be responded, because there's so many of them. I mean, no offense, like Mary and Cliff, for instance, they have nurses up there. They have staffing that knows what they should be doing up there. We shouldn't have to be getting called to that 24/7. Now, if it's cardiac arrest or, not breathing or anything like that, yes, I understand that, but.
That'd be discussion for the board members too. The board members will decide what they think is appropriate use of tax money and what people should respond on. And then there will be open meetings of the board that public can come in and commit, or tell them, hey, we want you to start responding to this, and it's up to the board of directors on what the calls they go on and all that kind of stuff.
So all of our meetings are open to the public as well. We gotta abide by all the sunshine laws and everything, so there is room for community input there too at the meeting. So I don't anticipate any major changes on first responder, at least, especially not right away. And right now, everybody in the county is pretty much running just life threats.
Yeah.
Because of the strain it was putting on the fire departments when we started the first responder program years ago with the ambulance district. We were running on what we call nicknamed Band-Aid runs, where it scratches and just little slips and falls, and it was taxing the volunteer fire departments too much, to run all those calls. It costs money to bring a truck out and run that, so. And then your insurance goes up, the more calls you run, it just depends on, that's why we kind of just turned it to life threats only, or potential life threats. Anything that gets perceived as a possible life threat we'll run on.
And things like water usage and utilities, that then becomes,
Well, that's, yeah.
that becomes,
But what about the fire department use of, your service, the fire hydrants around here, what's the nature of that relationship then? Is same guys doing it, water usage connected to flushing hydrants and stuff that goes to your bill?
That would be to the water district, your water district down here, I'm assuming.
We
We wouldn't.
pay the water district,
Okay.
so say you have a major fire and you got everybody here, I know you build an insurance company, and then we still front, how's that gonna work?
So we can talk about that. I mean, if we use water, whatever, we can pay for
You know what I'm saying?
whatever, right, whatever we use. So the county lets us use the hydrants, and they're flush hydrants, so we don't draft off the hydrants. We can free flow into a tanker or free flow into a porta tank, and then fill our tankers that way. And then the only thing that they've asked us in the past, they work with us really well in the county, is they just asked us for a report of how many gallons we use. So whenever they get, we use 30,000 gallons on a call, all of a sudden they got a meter that through 30,000 gallons went out, they're wondering if they have a leak. They just want to know where did that water go, so that they're not spending money and time.
I suspect it'll probably be the same deal. I suspect it'll go, and that'll just be us talking with the county water
I
department.
mean, me and Wes and Mary from Missouri Water, but they just allowed us to fill a J-road, but half the trucks can't get down in there to fill that up. So they'll get stuck, you know what I'm
They charge
saying?
you for the water?
Not if hydrants, they do
No,
not.
they do not.
They do not. Not if we're using hydrants.
I guess we pay for it down here.
We have to pay for it, that's the thing.
We weren't supposed to, but we do.
Yeah, and they won't, but.
And so maybe that's something we'll have to get with the water department, and this is gonna be up to the board. I shouldn't be speaking on behalf
Oh,
of
you're
everybody.
good, you're good.
But that'll be something where the board will have to get together with the water department and discuss how they wanna handle that.
Because otherwise,
I was interested in hearing that too.
because when me,
I was interested when you were saying that. They get, don't have to pay for water.
They told us first, I didn't, when we started doing this.
because I went up and, but like I said, like Carl said, we weren't supposed to pay. But then I had a meeting with Wes, and then they said, oh, in the J road, you guys can use that, but for them to shuttle water,
Yeah, right.
because you got a massive fire, and then they're charging you by the gallon crazy.
Right.
That's something that the
I think it should be, like you said, original verbatim, what they had, and it wouldn't budge. Even Missouri World War with us at that meeting, she even explained to them, it don't make any sense, huh? So,
Just one more thing on our list that we're gonna have to
I know.
check off. We have a long list right now, just getting started. It's like starting a business, you know? Like we're starting a business, so.
You know, is there like money over the chamber, what's the loss of fire tax revenue versus taxes we have to pay in then?
Well, I'm not sure I'm not sure of the question.
So, Frankie, our fire tax we take in,
Mhm.
does that support your
So the
department?
fire department supports us, or the fire tax that we take in is what runs the trucks and stuff.
So how much does that equal a year versus what the budget is?
I don't know really what that is equal out. I mean, I don't have figures of what, you know, like,
I didn't know we did,
yeah, I mean, we don't have figures of like what the tax dollars coming in from this area, you know, or whatever.
We're paying tax dollars, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I see what Joe is saying, though, it is to that point, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what percentage of your tag holders or residents were paying a fire tag? Countywide, we figured it was 65%.
About 65%.
What do you
So,
think?
I have no idea.
It's, we got Perry County people paying dual tags, and that don't mean it's just,
Yeah.
I have no idea. You have to ask somebody that collects it.
well, it's been mixed match between that and then Perry County, and they're buying 2 tags now with that letter, so
No.
we'll just have to add it up and
So
see.
it's not.
So I don't know what kind of agreement you have mutuated with Perry County right now.
So we have mutual aid agreement.
Yeah.
Where if they have a fire and they need us, they mutual aid us, just like St. Jim and Ozora.
Is that currently set up on an automatic?
It's just automatic between us verbally and stuff. I mean,
So those people that are buying dual fire tags, or were buying dual fire tags, and they're across the St. County line, they're gonna get St. Mary's Road, so they just would pay Perryville fire tag in Perry County.
It's just considered mutual aid.
And it's considered mutual aid.
And there'll come a point where they return the favor to us.
Right. It's just gonna be mutual aid, and it's automatic, so.
I just don't want anybody left high and dry.
Right.
It's the same with the county and St. John City
So,
right
Or
now.
an extra fire department coming out, you know, if you don't buy a fire tag, and because that's what the wine garden letter says, is if you don't buy the fire tag, we're gonna send you a bill.
Correct.
right. So, per Missouri statute, because years ago, fire departments were choosing not to put somebody's fire out if they weren't a paid member of the fire department. Well, there were some lawsuits over that because obviously some paperwork got misconstrued, across the state. There was a few departments that got in a little bit of trouble for that. They passed a statute that said you go, you fight the fire, that you have the ability, if they are not a tag holder, that you can charge them. So that's what everybody did then. Now this all goes away with the taxes because everybody pays the tax.
So that it won't be a concern anymore.
No.
Somebody's gonna come and put my house out
Yeah.
and I'm not getting it.
So and ultimately,
That's
only 65% of residents in the county were buying fire tags, approximately, somewhere right in that number. So you can see where there was a significant lack of funds whenever only 65% are actually paying for fire services. So
Who are working out with Randolph for Cascade Allen and stuff?
The directors will. Yeah, the 5 directors will right now.
That's a big.
And Chief Ullman here will be getting us some insight as to how they had it in the past, so.
we'll be working with our lawyer on that.
And we'll be working with our lawyer on that. She'll be involved as well.
Lots of combine fires.
Yeah, they happen pretty much everywhere in the county from time to time.
So the does the chamber need any reimbursement though from your guys' contributions from that? You know what I'm saying? I know you had to pay something,
We
didn't you?
don't care what we did. When we did, we gave it to them.
Yeah,
But I'm concerned, they can have everything.
no, I think it's a good
We
idea.
don't,
I can give that truck away, that was a donated truck, that was, but,
We can give it to the city.
yeah, the one that was donated.
but as far as the chamber is concerned, we give it to the district. I mean, we want to.
Yeah,
We don't have to say so no more. Well, our feelings is that they give them to the city. That everything we don't, it's all getting old. The newest truck is how old, Frank?
What is it?
The newest one,
You read it?
Eureka, that's a 2001.
2001. That's our newest truck.
Well, 2002.
that's a new one.
And I was told, I don't know if it's true or not, that a new fire truck is in a neighborhood of $1 million.
Oh, yeah. That's easy.
So the truck that we would be looking at, probably replacing them counter now, they're in the upper 700s right now.
And that's just for a bear truck. That doesn't include any equipment that goes on
There's
it.
no equipment, right, no equipment.
It's terrible. It's
Tell me, so did the city of St. Genevieve purchase that equipment before for the fire department, or how did that work? Because you have a new firehouse there, from what I've seen, and then it looks like pretty new equipment. Are you telling me that they just gifted you several $1 million worth of stuff and said, here, take it, have fun with it?
That is their intention. That's a resolution passed by the city council back during the election, that was their intent. The way you guys know, it's the way a city government operates, they cannot commit a future board. So they wrote a resolution saying this intention of the board, if this passes, to follow through with this of giving the equipment over to the fire district. So it'll still have to be legally drawn up, it'll still have to go to city council and have the final approval.
Yeah.
But I had a meeting last night with them, and everybody sitting around the table are still in the agreement that that's what needs to happen, just to make a smooth transition and not have a gap in coverage and everything else.
And their prior budget and books and stuff that were connected to that pre-use situation, does that just shift over into
Right now, my current budget goes till September 30th, and the city is committed to maintain to that point. That was part of the budget we worked last year. Because we will not get any tax dollars until after the first of the year, the city will still maintain the fire department for the next 2 or 3 months after my budget. So either I have to go through the budget process again and they have to allot me enough to get through 3 or 4 months, or we're looking at another option. Our rural fire fund, which was fire tags that were sold for coverage, was put into a separate account. They're considering the possibility of October 1st gifting that to us too as an operating budget, just get us completely out of the city budget. That way we don't have to go through the process and all that stuff. That's still got to go through the attorneys and get approved and everything.
And in your preceding budgets, at your summary there, at the end of the year, the budget period, were you in a surplus or in a deficit position? Or zero?
From the fire department, I get about $200,000 a year to operate, and I watch it very closely, and we're usually about 180 180,000 with operating, and that only is operating expenses. The major expenses like trucks and things like that has to go out through bond issues or some other tax form. The ladder truck we bought, they used some money from the urban design levy that was left over to purchase that. And the building and the truck in 2006 was when they switched it from I think it was a sales tax for the building of it. They had some surplus, so they said if you work on and get it through to switch to a capital improvement tax, then we'll buy you a fire truck and we'll give you a building. So that's how that played out. Day-to-day operations is just regular budget stuff. The big stuff, we still have to go out and ask for voters to approve or find a different way to do it.
And then your assets from the preceding years, as they carry over financially in CDs and stuff like that, do they exist? Have you turned those over to them as well?
In our rural fire district, we do have one CD that we've been carrying over, and that is designated for the city fire department for basically miscellaneous funds, unexpected breakdowns, and we spend X amount of dollars a year on maintenance over and above what the city gives me, and we use it for education and things like that. That we're hoping will be transferred over to the new district. That stays put. Every year I have to go through the budget process just like everybody else and ask for dollars, and at the end of the year, whatever I don't spend, it goes back into general revenue and has to go through the system again.
And will the city continue to administrate that, or does the new fire district?
No. Once we become a separate district, we're no longer part of the city, we'll have nothing to do with the city budget. So the money that we operate off of will come from the county fire district, from the counties to our district board, and then that'll be a separate budget through a separate governmental agency. We'll still talk to the city because we work together on everything else. We'll still be communicating and working together on different projects, but the money to operate the fire district in St. Genevieve will be from the fire district board and from the county collecting the money.
Hey Ken,
Yeah.
he's got a question right here.
Is the district eligible for grants?
We will still be
It'll still be
able to.
eligible, yeah.
Yep.
It might even help us out being a bigger entity.
That was, I didn't know about that. The
Yes.
district is Big River.
That's one of the things that we thought about too, is that it would help us.
It would.
Gives us more buying power too with equipment and everything else. We go replacing SCBA's and turnout gear and buying hose and nozzles and things, that gives us a little bit more buying power as well. So, and by us taking over the district and taking over the city of St. Mary's Fire Department, it relieves you guys of a lot of financial burden. I'm assuming, I don't know what you guys end up spending or whatever, but it is. Yeah.
Liability too.
And liability.
Liability.
The liability insurance, everything. Workman's comp, all that be provided by the district.
Yeah. So you guys do all that then?
Yeah.
You would be completely out of the fire service. You will be, I should say.
Anybody got anything else? Or I guess pretty much just working around everybody and getting with everybody's.
Yeah.
And everybody working with
You
everybody.
guys decide what you want to do and, yeah.
And with everybody's opinion, and you got anything, Jeremy, that you might need addressed, or if you got anything you need?
Only thing I gotta say to the board is, if that goes through, it's gonna relieve money, lots of money for the city to operate. Now, they sure they're gonna pay taxes now, but they won't see it, but there'll be a lot of relief from the general fund to do other things with that they won't, that they can't do now.
Yeah, just at 18.
And so when you get ready to do whatever you do, think about that.
Well, I just didn't know one way or the other, if you guys need money on your end, like donation. Because that was probably a headache process.
Because when he did it, he was the mayor and I was the clerk, and we were the officers on that. And that was the intent, it was supposed to be from the city. So the city should pass it on
Yeah,
and you can go, because everybody voted to go to the district.
yeah.
And that's the way it should be.
I just didn't know they got tied up and then, so. But yeah, Carl is right, it would free up quite a bit, I mean.
It'd be considerable. I mean,
It's not huge.
You don't realize that you got a fund and everything, a budget, which a lot of times you get stuff for the fire department thing, just free that up.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna raise my taxes, but
And mine, everybody's is
everybody be paying.
just 30 cents.
Carl, what were the hidden expenses that would
You got gas, gas, and you're not managing the song equipment, you know.
Stuff comes up that you can't budget.
Liability, all that stuff, all that insurance,
Insurance, that come out of
and then.
The insurance went up on this year.
everybody.
Yeah, because of them, you guys gotta get more just to protect in case one of your guys got hurt real bad. Remember?
And I'll add on to that a little bit as far as the hidden expenses. Like he said, you guys' newest trucks in 2001, NFPA, their standards, that's who sets standards for the fire service, is 20 years the truck should be replaced and taken out of service. Same with their SCBA's. We were super lucky. We got a grant several years ago countywide for an over $1 million grant. Those are gonna have to be replaced in the next 8 years.
2030.
So that's another expense that we would never be able to purchase under the way we currently do things. And God forbid there was a line of duty death or one of us got seriously injured, there's gonna be organizations that are gonna come in and investigate it, and they're gonna absolutely hammer us for stuff being out of date, air packs being out of date, not tested, so they have to be tested annually, or pumps have to be tested annually on our fire trucks. There's endless things that have to be done annually that aren't being done just because we don't have the funds to do it. And so, that's where I say like liability is a huge thing that we want to try to eliminate and get better as a district, because it's not just here, it's everywhere throughout the county. The funds aren't there. So
Will our ISO rating be better?
In the city, your ISO rating probably going to suffer, it'd probably be a 6, I think. Countywide, we're going to be a 6. So some departments were an 8, Kinsey, Ozora, they were an 8B. Weingarten's is 6, I think what you guys are 7. So it helps some areas with the ISO, other areas that down here in the city, I think it hurt it just a little bit. Our goal is.
I don't know what that means. Can you explain what that means?
ISO is a company, it's an independent company that audits fire departments based on how well prepared they are to fight residential fires or commercial fires or anything of that standard. One is the best, 10 is the worst, basically didn't qualify. So they rate you based on that, and then the insurance companies they'll decrease rates potentially. Like Chief Steiger mentioned that there are 4 in the city. If you were to come to the county, it'd be a 6. That's potentially a 17% increase is what some insurance companies said on their premiums at the end of the year. So they go off of things like water supply, staffing, public relations.
All your testing of your equipment.
The ISO breaks down to 3 ways. They look at fire department, they look at water supply, water systems, and they look at 911 dispatch.
Yeah.
Dispatch is worth 10 points, water systems worth 40 points, and the fire department's worth 5. And inside of each one of those categories, there's a whole bunch of little things that they look at: equipment and training and number of people available. For ISO, for a house fire, they want 18 people on a fire for a house fire. But for ISO, they only give you credit for 1 full-time person for every 3 volunteers. So being 100% volunteer in this county right now, for us to have 18 people, we'd have to have almost 50 people, volunteers on a scene to get the credit for ISO. So they look at all that different stuff, and they give you credit for response time, number of hours training, and number of people on your roster, and it's a whole big list of stuff. And what they do is they look at that and put it into a database, and then they give you a rating. And ratings, like you said, goes from a 1, which is awesome. I think there's only a few in the state of Missouri, all the way down to a 9 or a 10. We're in a 4. That's one of, last time I looked, it's like 7,000 departments nationwide that are class 4. At one time, we were class 4 along with Perryville and Farmington and Festus. Perryville and Festus and Farmington are now class 3s because they have full-time people. We don't have that, so we're still a class 4. Not all insurance companies will look at ISO ratings and set your rating according to ISO, but what they will look at is the ones that do use it will say this is what you're going to be paying according to the ISO rating. And the ones that don't use it have to stay competitive, so they'll have to be in the same ballpark as far as how they rate your insurance. So company A says you're class 4, we're giving you for this much, and company B says, well, we don't use ISO, but if you're getting it for that much, we're going to have to be in that same ballpark to stay when we can work together. So ISO is just an independent third-party auditing agency that audits what your capabilities are. And they look at things like automatic mutual aid and age of trucks and all that kind of stuff too. So that's all part of the rating.
That's why 6 for now, but my hope and goal is that we can drop down to maybe a 5.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Help.
Definitely.
Yeah, so down here, you may go up just a little bit, but overall, it's gonna be fairly minimal. Overall, I think we're gonna be able to drop it down. With updated equipment, a better training program, and the list of goals that we want to do as a district. So.
We were the 600 some odd years, and I got dropped down to a high 5 because of
The water.
So he was just saying, you guys were at 6 down here for a long time until you got some new hosts just recently, so.
Yeah. That'll work.
Yeah.
So what if we can't keep up the volunteers for our department, that department?
Well, that's the other program that we're starting, is we're looking into starting a junior firefighting program, hit schools up, maybe even start something through VOTEC up in St. Jan or something like that in the near future if we can. So to try to get them a little bit younger. St. Jan Ambulance started an EMT class up there, and it went over really well up in St. Jan, so that's other things that we're looking at too. And more community outreach and getting more out in the public and stuff, open houses, things like that. Try to get more younger people involved. Because we do need volunteers, you know. And you don't have to be, you can spread this around too. If anybody's, you don't have to be a young person and put air pack and full turnout gear on, you know. The fire departments can use people of all ages to do different things around the station house, you know. Keep it clean, wash trucks, help put gear back away and get it ready to go. So, you know, don't be shy. I hear all the time, well, I'm too old for that. No, you're not. You know, you're not, so. That's my
Glenn, you still on there, Glenn?
I put my 55 years in retirement.
I don't know that was you before. I figured you'd still be on there.
Put him in the refrigerator.
Glenn was on for a long time, I know that.
Yeah.
Glenn was back when I was with
Oh, yeah.
Gary, I'm pretty sure it's on there.
Oh, yeah.
So, well,
So we're gonna have to look into really hard an apparatus replacement program because the average life of the truck in the county right now is 27 years old.
yeah.
So that's exceeding the NFPA recommendations and, you know, so we're looking at that hard and that's a big expense too, so.
Okay.
I think the district's gonna be buying a fire truck and paying probably premiums for a long time on fire equipment.
It's never cheap.
Never gonna end either. It won't end.
Even in the city, we're looking at, the first thing I'm gonna do with budget in there is put money away for a vehicle replacement too, because my first out bumper is a 2006. So I'm just a couple of years newer than what your truck is down here. And with $1 million truck, you gotta put money away before you can do anything. If right now, if the city would have had to buy it, looking at a $1.4 million truck, you're looking at several $100,000 in interest payments over a 10-year penalty. So we gotta put money aside. And that's the goal of the whole fire district, is to make everybody more financially stable and get some equipment bought and get it to where it's more feasible to operate the way we should.
Depreciation over 10 years does not help either.
No,
No.
not at all.
So. Anybody else? All right.
All right, thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
guys. I guess you guys got cars now, you do? Or I can get
Here,
them.
Jessica, you got my information, my
I
phone
do.
number.
I do.
Pass that around if you want to, and then I'd like to get a business card from you if you have one.
Oh, with my car out.
Okay.
I'll wait for you. I'm done, Adam.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds good.
So, I appreciate it, guys.
If you guys got any more questions, we'll get out of your hair.
I'm good. Are you guys good?
We'll answer any question you have.
Listen to some of that.
Do you have anybody? Carl, Joanne, you guys got any questions before you leave?
We're gonna pick around, huh?
I just wanted to know, make sure you knew that we had no ties to anything.
Oh, yeah, I was making sure if they did, that everything was squared away, that's all, you know. Okay.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
You bet.
Take care. Alright, who's next? We got Jeremy and Michael here.
You wanna start?
Well, sure. I'm here tonight to give you guys a quick update on the everything. So, Adam and Frankie worked hard, and so did Jessica, on figuring out where everything stood with grant and DNR. Got movement going there, and they also reached out to one of the nearby landowners about the land application system. Mike,
Okay.
I don't recognize you. You just recently. Okay. All right. Welcome. I'm an engineer and help you all with your wastewater system. So working on an engineering report. We all have an 8% grant from DNR to do so, and we are approaching the end of things. We've almost got a workable solution for you all. And part of that is most likely going to be a land application system with wastewater, but not necessarily going to be the final recommendation. So part of that, Frankie and Adam reached out to the nearby landowner, and he gave his blessing to put in the irrigation heads, which is a good thing. Both really for him and his cattle, his hay, and for the city. So that will probably be the direction that the report heads from here, because it is very cost effective, simple, and not much can go wrong with the application system. No one's going to have to be out there busting ice when it gets below freezing. They're not going to have any expensive equipment that needs to be replaced. Pump, go along. So you already have lost pumps.
Yes.
So that's the other part of it is we are going to hopefully be able to replace a lot of your pressure system with a gravity system. We can't get all of it, but what we can do is collect into 2 or 3 main basins. We're going to have way fewer pumps, way less replacement costs, way less electricity costs. Really drive down your operation and maintenance fees that you guys have to deal with right now with so much pressure. Gravity is just simpler. Water likes to flow downhill.
Those collection stations, are they mechanical or just physical reservoirs?
Great question. I guess the answer is it's sort of a combination. So you have a deep, relatively deep, pit in a tank basically where the water collects. Once it hits a certain level, there are pumps that kick on that draw it down. And then they turn off for a while, and then as the water level rises again, once it hits a certain level, it says, okay, time to turn on, and it pumps it down for a couple minutes or so. So then you're not having a lot of start, stop, and your pumps running constantly, and increasing the likelihood of it running up.
And sedimentation in those tanks, what happens with that?
It occurs, it's not usually a very big issue. If it did become an issue, it's a lot easier to go in with a back truck and pump out a single tank than it is to go around to every home into their grinder pits.
Right.
So it's typically not a major issue.
So, and why wouldn't you form a lot of sludge in this? Because it gets pumped out quickly, or?
Yes, great question, and that's part of the mechanics of inside the what's called the wet level. That there's enough circulation and turbulence in there that it all goes. Yeah. Occasionally you'll have some things that build up over years. You'd be surprised what people manage to flush down the toilet sometimes.
We're not
Okay. logistical. Great question, though.
Turnaround time, once this gets rolling, Michael, what's like ETA time of start and completion?
Yeah, so there are a number of paths towards actual construction. Easiest one is for people to say, okay, we know what it's going to cost, we'll just pay it. It's also a really hard one for a lot of small towns like St. Mary. The next path is using the grant and loan dollars that we've talked about quite a bit, which ties in a little bit to the income surveys that Jeremy, I think, is going to discuss a little bit. But essentially, the best route forward from here is we go ahead and land on what we want the project to look like. So we're close to wrapping up a report during the next meeting. Hopefully, we'll bring it to you all and let you all take it home, digest it if you want, or if you have trouble falling asleep. It's not the most riveting stuff, but it's wastewater. But there is a lot of good information there. If you do have questions, I want you all to ask questions and be able to answer them for you. Ultimately, our decisions are driven by spreadsheets more than anything. If something is less cost, that's probably what we'll recommend, unless you have a really good reason why you say, we know that costs less, but we'd really like to go with option B. And then everyone can understand as going in that it is more expensive, but it may have some feature that you prefer.
Will we still have grinders at everyone's house?
Not at everybody's house. You would, for some that
That would not be gravity.
right. That's exactly right. And so some areas it's more difficult, and I'll show you a map laid out that shows where this goes. We'll be able to eliminate a lot of them, more than most. There are a few areas where if someone's downhill, let's say, and you have about 3 houses down there, it's probably not cost effective to put a larger station in there just to pump 3 homes up. In that case, I would recommend that you all keep those 3 grinders, for instance, but we would probably end up replacing, if they're old especially, replacing them using grant dollars with new grinders so that the problems you all are having right now, hopefully we can alleviate. And also by taking off so many off of the existing force mains, we'll be able to move back a little bit. One of the problems that you all have with the pressure system is when there's a problem in the force main itself, the pumps don't necessarily know, okay, there's a problem, we're going to shut off. They keep trying, they keep going until they burn out. Yeah. And so by reducing the number of pumps that are trying to push through there, inevitably you're going to also reduce the number of instances of that. So all in all, a huge cost saving. Now, you might ask, why didn't we just do that in the first place? Use gravity? Probably when it went in, it was probably more cost effective to do pressure in the short term. And so whenever I do the report, you'll see a breakdown of capital costs of what's it going to cost us to build it. That's one item that's important to look at. The next item that's really important to look at is what are our long-term forecasted costs for this? What is the expected cost over time? And that's what we use what's called a present worth analysis to say, yes, this might be more expensive to install today, but you're going to save potentially millions of dollars over a 30-year period. Plus, if we can use grant dollars to build it now, it's even cheaper. So, but that'll all be in the report.
And I guess you're presuming, or you suggested that our operating expenses will be able to go down and our payments for sewer and water have the potential to go down as well. So
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that's a little bit unique about St. Mary is you have a tremendous amount of O&M work that goes in that may not necessarily be billed. I think that everyone pitches in and does a lot of work helping out, keeping the lights on, and it's not necessarily going into a payroll. So if we were out here every night for the past week, that may not show up because people were volunteering that way. So it becomes difficult to put a number to that, but if you were to pay people for the time they put in, certainly it's going to reduce that. I hope that makes sense. But yes, also hopefully we'll reduce the service level, but we won't know that until we're in the funding agencies involved. Do you all have any questions for me other than that?
Anybody have any questions for Mike? And
Did any developer call you?
Yes, that's
The what?
for the clean water engineering.
There was a developer,
It's on the now.
that, I gave him your guys' number, they were looking at purchasing some land.
A developer?
Yeah, for Dollar General.
For what?
Dollar General,
So that's the
they wanted to see if you had any land, and the mason and all that.
Oh, I talked to a gentleman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He did get a hold of me. Yeah.
I didn't know if you did, so I just want to make sure, sorry.
He got a hold of me.
All right, have a good weekend.
Sorry, did anybody have any questions for me?
How many grinders with the new program revamped, how many actual grinder gas phases are being used?
Off the top of my head, I apologize, but I do have that. And I'll have to
Is it like 10 or?
It's more than 10, but I think it's fewer than 20 altogether. But I'll have a map where it shows it, and there's a chance that we can do some more. One of the challenges when it comes to that is we have, in some cases, older construction that were built in this area of hills too. If the grinder is located in the back, it may be in the downhill, it may be very difficult to bring gravity collection to that point. And so in some instances, what we might end up doing for those, instead of pumping into a master force main that runs through town, they might just pump straight up to the gravity main, which means that they'll never be clogged. So you're not gonna have that problem where they start burning up. There's just no cost-effective way to go down there. So it has to be pumped up on the regular.
But it'll be integrated into the main loop.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be separately.
Exactly. Yep. So they won't have those long-term problems, but there still may be some long-term expenses associated with mechanical things that just fail. But it's not going to be because there was a bad enforcement. It's going to be because all mechanical things fail over time. Yes. But we're going to do our best to cut down the costs for everybody wherever we can. Another thing that I was going to talk, or we had talked about a little bit in the past was some other grant opportunities. And you all have been working on income surveys to help do those things. And I think that's where Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right. So the grant programs we would look at, currently there's CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant through, it's HUD funded through Missouri Department of Economic Development. They have two programs. One is their competitive cycle, which is open now, it closes in June. That can award you up to $500,000 No,
doesn't require a signature.
You number them all, so you have 147 households, you'll number them 1 through 147, you'll have a list, you'll send those out, you'll get them back, you'll know who did and who didn't, so you can follow up and get those. But they don't fill out any of their personal identification.
Yeah, there's no identifying information on this.
USDA is more like the art form, they want, your actual household income and the number of people and that kind of stuff, so it is a little more intrusive. So you don't have to do the USDA one. It's just there if you think you can qualify for more grant funds. They also have a separate program, it's community facilities, direct local grant loan. Currently, you don't qualify for grant funds through that program, but if you would come in at that 47,505, you would. So it would open eligibility for another USDA program, and that one can be used for police cars, fire trucks, it's, you can get that kind of stuff.
Buildings, I think, wasn't it like? It might have been just, you know, like, we gotta do this, I'm like,
Buzz here. Yeah.
sit on the gas. All right.
Great.
Well,
Thank you all.
Thank you guys for coming in and helping us get some clarification. If you need anything, Jeremy, it's nice to see you again.
It's the same, names different, emails the same, phone numbers are the same. So, and then-
All right, thank you.
I need to get with you to go with you.
All right, so then.
We've got to have time for the actual still. Come up with
So, we had a permit, approval request for just, storage, like a lawnmower shed, you know, prefab. She's got the dimensions and areas and everything up there. So,
I can't hear you.
Oh, let me turn
handle
on.
that man, please, before I do it. So she's here, she talked to me, I looked over it, and then, about the size and design, it's a portable shed just up there where they came last time, because they got the dimensions, so they just want their, they don't know if they have to go ahead. You guys gotta agree, yes or no?
Oh, you just want to put a portable shed up, is that what this?
You have to, yes,
Oh.
that's part of your.
You should have just said that.
I can show you the
Yeah, she's got everything, size and design and everything, so.
Where?
Okay, so, my property is 937 6th Street, Monkiku's old
I
property.
don't keep using the back.
This is the map of it. So this is the house and the garage in the front,
Yeah,
and we're wanting to
it's not
shed
like
right
way back.
How big
on
is
the
it?
back side. It is a 14 by 40.
It goes around, yeah.
That's big. It's a garage or what is it?
Yep.
How do you get it? Are you building it or?
It is built for, being built for its just down in Tennessee. They will deliver it up here, yeah. Do they put it together here or is it already? No, it's already together and then they will,
Trailer it in?
yeah.
Is there enough room to get it back there?
What do they look like?
I don't have an actual, I don't think they gave us an actual picture of the,
Remember that one that was down here, that was not supposed to be put in here?
Oh, just like a
Like that
little
one?
building type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like BBL or something, it's pretty bad, yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
So,
Sure.
she just wanted to know, because they wanted, I guess, we, worked with them on the water at the last meeting and everything else, so they just wanted to know about this.
So it's just a shed, not a residential?
Correct. There isn't gonna be electric or, well, maybe in the future, we may run some electric to it, but there's no water, nothing like that.
So just basically for your cars or
It's
Right,
storage.
right.
Stuff. He collects musical instruments and stuff.
Oh, that's not.
just okay.
Yeah. For storage.
That's it. Alright, so, anybody have any, you guys okay with that, or is it motion approved? The permitting?
I see no reason to object to it.
Okay. I don't either, I'll look over it, and I'll go over before it's in, just get a hold of me, and I'll check it once, I'll maybe double check, I mean, it's on the maps, you're good.
So what are you wanting me to do about the dig right?
Dig
I have
right.
to call them again because the other places
What I'm gonna do is, if I got my own pound dig right, I'm gonna do in that area you have, myself, I can manually do that area, and then have them come out and do it, and once they say they marked it, I'll come out and do it again, because they keep marking everybody else's.
Right.
So,
Well, the other thing, it's common, I guess it's gonna be, it's a 40 footer, so it's gonna be on one of those trailers, wide-load trailers.
Correct.
So how are you gonna get in there, and do you roll over any water lines or anything?
That's why we're having it
Yeah,
checked.
I'm gonna go.
But I don't think there's anything in the area where they will live,
Where she's gonna come in at, and then where it's gonna be in the far right, the backpack. There's nothing there in the backpack. It's around the back of the house, but right here as it comes up the side of the garage.
No, I mean, from an aerial view, you just drop it in. But then the access to that area with a large, with a semi, and I mean, that's 14 foot huge.
I mean, it shouldn't be, should be.
So,
But anyway, Frank would probably be more familiar with that, where the lines are.
How deep is the line, the water main?
Water main should be at 42 inches, top 5.
Okay.
And the sewer main should be
they're coming
36.
over here.
You think that little baby, little boy, or
So
whatever
there's,
that
what's, is
thing
there anything that's, this
I would think the ditch.
That's where,
is? It's
water
like,
lines,
Is it a tractor trailer, or is it a?
dig right mark, the wrong
I
address.
don't know, the 50.
Don't have any
I'll
address
ask
issue.
you.
The lady to your house in town has her address in town.
They park in the unload
Our address
dolly
and her social
contraption, three-wheel.
So that's another issue. Yeah, so,
We go over this with Frank.
50 foot.
Right. He knows it right there.
Did you look at the lot layout on that? Forget it, and she's saying that he'll be back in this way.
So get back in this way, there's a sewer main right there, it's, yeah, sewer main.
it's gonna be down.
What's that?
or he's back.
Or head back in.
Okay, but there's a sewer main that runs all the way across through there. And there's water, so down at Spruce and 6th Street there, the water main comes up, the sewer main comes up on the opposite side of the road, and then they flip right there. So you either have, I'd have to go up there and visualize it, but it's either the sewer or the water on that side, I can't remember exactly. But your grinder's back here, that should wrap up around and come right between this garage. Yeah. So, if I remember right, because I had to actually dig in between that garage for the discharge one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from,
But you're clear back here, you can put it anywhere back in here. The only other thing is I call it dig right, like Adam said, because there could be a fiber. Fibers, they like run fiber everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyways, and if you're on top of one of them and they have to get to it, then, it's an issue on you. But like I said, the only thing you're gonna be crossing here, now this lot right here, at one time, there was a house on, back years ago. There was a house on there, and then there was actually a house right here on this lot too, back here. But you own this lot here, right?
Yeah,
Is that-
it's just gully.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go, gully.
Yeah, it's a big old gully here, and there's a gully here, and then you got Spruce Street here.
Yeah.
But there used to be a house right there at one time, but I can't remember exactly if that grinder and water meter got disconnected years ago.
I haven't found anything in the yard.
Yeah, I found them, they probably disconnected and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with this being a vacant lot, we didn't put new water line to it, but the sewer has still been there, so
so
we should be good.
on your end, with your delivery and transportation guy, they need to have liability.
Correct.
They drive
They have
over
to-
something and blow it out.
After we get it approved through here, then we have to send the information to them, then they have to get their licenses and everything set up.
Okay.
Yep. They're coming from Tennessee.
So we're just taking a brief recess because someone had to use the restroom.
We don't want to recess yet, we want to vote on Cody, Kiefer. Wash your hands.
Sorry, my apologies.
Okay, so we're back.
I was waiting for a second. All right, so did we get that figured out? Okay, cool. All right. New business, so we already went over, so, the new business, if you're looking approve request for her building to be put on her property, please. Is there a
I make a motion that we approve that with, provided that there are no considerations from water and sewer lines in the area, which may keep out, so.
I mean, I can mark the name, but.
Yeah, anybody's over there. Vandy's on fire.
Okay then, so we
I'll second.
agree?
Motion made, second by Alderman Bergman, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Permit is approved. You just have to get with Jess and she needs you set up. Do you guys have anything else or with that or?
No, if you can just call the post office for that addressing issue.
Okay, yeah, over here.
And speak with Rachel.
Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright, I will do that. 911 address issue. Alright. Okay. I will get that done. Well, it won't be today, but I mean, it'll be Monday.
Yeah.
So I'll get that taken care of. I'll call up there and talk to the master and Rachel. Alright, well, let me know when it's coming in and I'll make arrangements and stuff.
Yeah, the police, I guess the police department.
Yeah, we can shut, if he needs to, we can, last quarter up or wherever it needs to go up. Probably, Cedar. Probably Cedar, wasn't it? One.
Oh, Cedar? Yeah.
I would go up
I
Cedar.
didn't say we go up 6 or 7.
No, go up Cedar and he could do his thing.
You threw me off for a minute.
No, Cedar, that way it's easy back in, and right by the antique house out there, it's got all that area.
Okay.
So,
Super, good luck with it.
all right.
Okay. Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah, see you later. All right. Are we ready for a new business? We pretty much answered everything. And unfinished business. You can take a look at it, see each one of them, and put off.
No, they don't each have one.
Same one from last one, but I'm sure we'll have more by the 20th,
These are,
23rd.
the highlighted folks are the people that live within the city limits that have water. They're not past due on their water bills, but we are going to issue shut-offs for taxes that are behind. Page 2 was last month.
They previously called and made arrangements last month and still have not been in at all.
Oh, these are the same.
Same people.
Individual.
And the reason that you have to redo it is because of it's more each month they don't pay. They owe us.
Yeah.
And this is just for delinquent taxes.
Yes.
Okay.
But they'll have a water bill too, I'm sure, won't they?
The highlighted folks have water bills.
Amy Massey, she said she'd be in less than weeks ago and I called, so I don't know if that's now or what.
And how will that go?
A year.
Oh, okay.
So the difference, ladies, the yellow highlighted ones are April amounts. Orange is May amounts.
Because it has April council thing.
It does, and
Can I work out the thing?
yeah, you can do all you want.
That's what we should be doing.
It's a T.
We love you.
That's fine, that's fine.
So that's just to inform us of what's.
Yeah, probably when we get to our shut-off day, we'll see what the list looks like and then I'll be with you all.
Okay.
Say, hey, this has not been like arranged, because we can't just keep floating it. We gotta start shutting it off. I mean, it's just what it is.
Right.
If you don't call and, you made a promise and you don't come in for weeks, we gave you the benefit of the doubt, not once but twice now,
Right.
So.
Okay.
All right, moving on. I already did the other stuff. Income study, fire district's taken care of. and the city attorney, and then we'll get together whatever we're gonna do with their attorney and look over all that. So number 8, new business, so section A, amendment to ordinance 613, section 6, and enter it in the city records.
This should be the very last thing in your packet of business. It looks like you shoveled yours all up, huh?
Is it just these two?
Just 2 pages.
Oh, does it have a, number?
Let me see.
I didn't shut mine, so.
The last 2 pages.
So that's 2.
There's a 3rd page, there should be a 3rd page. There you go.
There it is.
There you go, you got it all. There's 4 pages. 4 pages. The ones like the back side says signature page.
Yeah, it's just for, separation there. So, let me take a look at it. So, everybody's been asking about,
Tyler.
asking about chickens and everything else, and some people been getting yelled at about chickens. But, after talking to the Department of Agriculture and looking at the city ordinance and everything else, the way the verbatim is wrote is incorrect, because chickens or poultry, they're not foul, in a way they are, but they're not. It's urbanized agriculture, so this is what I've been working on for a few months. But this is something to help me out as well, draw up, so there's accountability, so it holds the city harmless, and all through on there, but they actually have to register chickens, and they're only allowed so much, 6 of them, because that's the maximum you can have, because each chicken has to have so much square foot. If you read all that verbatim in there. So,
Do you know, is there anything about rabbits? Because that's another issue.
rabbits are considered livestock under the Department of Agriculture, unless they're Easter rabbits. Is it Easter bunny?
Something for me, they can't. Okay.
That's a head. How many?
I don't know. Quite a few.
Rabbits are considered livestock. If you guys see anything you would like to change or whatever, just let me know. This just covers this covers the whole thing, pretty much.
Well, so what we're looking at is an amendment for an amendment that allows for residents to have chickens, poultry on their property with a maximum of 6 with no roosters. And this is, there are models for this in larger cities even, St. Louis, Chicago, New York. Perryville has it, St. John has it too, I believe. So it seems to work well. There's one phrase in here about predators, rodents, insects, and parasites. And that brings up a couple issues. One is if there are dogs loose, then predators, basically you're talking about dogs, coyotes, and mink, possum, maybe not possum, but raccoons getting in to either go after food or the poultry themselves or their eggs. So that creates, additional issues which we just need to note and for them to be appreciated. And another one is, I didn't really think about it that much, but rodents, rats and mice are commonly associated with chicken coops because they come in for the grain that's available as well as eggs and other things that might be in the area as well. And so it seems like there's an issue with that, and some of you have experience, Adam, I think in your family, you guys.
Oh, yeah, over 100 and some.
Yeah, so that's quite a few, and if that seems to become a problem, then we would have the option of rescinding this amendment, I
Yes,
guess.
it's just an amendment resolution, and also it can be a case-by-case basis on this, because you read it, if it's a violation and they do not, like on the storage feed and food, it says it has to be, you can't have more than 3 cubic feet of manure in one area just laying out there. It can be turned to compost in a box by a person. This is their standard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not real hard stuff. You can buy a metal trash can and put a lid on it, and it's considered sealed in a building or...
Yeah, until the coon opens the lid.
They make legend ones.
No, I know.
But anyways, like the 40 feet from the adjacent neighbor's home, you still got to comply with existing ordinances, 10 feet from the property line. You must have sturdy wire fencing, and it has to be covered or have avery netting or solid roofing with secure entry and exits from securing from domestic and wild mammal families of carnivores. So, I mean, and also there's a disclosure where the city is held harmless. If you have roosters that are immediately to be seized and taken to a nice place. But
anyway, I've had some residents in my ward that requested this, so I'm okay with it.
I have two, as long as they don't get two, but you are responsible for making sure that the permits, because they have to have a permit. If they build a bigger coop, it has to come for a building inspection. But you can buy coops, I guess, now, can't you?
Yeah.
Prefab. But it's gotta be laying hens. It can't be waterfowl, it can't be rabbits, it can't be, any species other than laying hens. So, I mean, that's the best I could do on that, because, and, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. And compost is really good for your garden here.
It's excellent for it.
Yeah, so, but,
if someone wants to supplement their income, then they're running a poultry business at that point. So, there may be additional permits or something.
there is, now, this one's just for residential only, they sent me after we went through it. So,
Personal use only.
personal use only, yeah. But I mean, if it's family or something, you know how that works. $25 a year. And that that's owned property, non-rental property, because if it's rental property, they gotta go through their landlord.
Do we have a liaison with like a county ag extension service that helps people with stuff like this?
No, I just called.
No, I mean like let's say someone wants to do it.
Yeah.
And they need advice.
Oh, I can Mr. Brian Yarley's number or something. He was an FFA instructor, and then he was the one that didn't show me poultry production and everything else.
Yeah, so maybe we can have an event, for the people that have that to educate them about it a little bit, or you could have it here, at the town hall.
Yes. So, I mean, and with that fee, you'll get, your chickens have plastic bands, you just put them around their legs, they don't hurt, they're just little bands.
You play music?
No, bands. But here's the other kicker, if your poultry is at large, your chickens are at large, and it's because you didn't secure them and you're building whatever, no cat or your neighbor's dog or the city will not be considered liable or held harmless from any of this, or for any something they shouldn't do. Bang, bang. So any poultry found to be out and identified will be, if possible, have contact with the county animal control, which would be the deputy and then him. If not, they'll be disposed to per Department of Ag procedures.
He's gonna have chickens in his.
So, just let you know, that's just what they recommend, so it's up to you guys if you don't, I'm just taking their verbatim and putting it there, so. But I mean, I like eggs, I don't know if anybody likes that, so if everybody does it right, it'll go right. But if they've used it, I mean, my family did for probably 80 years and it went right. I mean, except the guineas, not very good, they pooped on everything.
How do you two feel about it?
I'm gonna have the price of eggs right now.
It's like you said, as long as there's no.
This has been, this has been an ongoing thing with the chickens for a long time, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
People want it.
Yes.
So do we need to vote on this to accept this?
It says there's a resolution.
1009.
As a, it'd be, it's, resolution 1009.
I would make a motion to approve this amendment and resolution.
All right, we have a motion to approve resolution 1009 by heading only. Resolution made ordinance number 613 set in section 6 by adding the permitting of having female non-crowning poultry, crowning, I'm sorry. Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Laying hens within the corporate city of St. Mary's for personal use and regulations defined as urban agriculture. All right, so we got a first. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second made by Alderman Rosenwig. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'm gonna do a second reading for the resolution, just by heading only, and a resolution and ordinance for 613, section 6, by adding the permitting of having female non-crowning.
I didn't type it.
Just because you graduated, they don't give you a right to be mean. Anyways, back to this, by heading only for personal use and regulations defined as our roll call vote, Alderman Dr. Duda,
Who is gonna be?
Alderman Kathy Bergman,
Yes.
Alderman Rose Rosenwig. All in favor, this is adopted. There you go.
You got hit your guy.
Look how many happy people, but you need to go around to the existing people that have these, if you come down and get.
It's just a
Do you have the bands?
I have some in my house, I can get you, or I can order them overnight.
Can we use the bands over again if the chicken dies?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay, good, I just didn't know.
yeah, they come off.
Well, I'm saying they're numbered.
Yeah, they come off, but each year you can change the color, so I mean,
Okay.
I can get, but if I get, something happens and I'm not here next year, somebody can rescind this and it's what it is.
chicken attack calls now.
Okay, you're just gonna have some of your chickens dinner.
All right.
And you invite them, that's over.
I did your notifications on.
What else am I on? Should have some loss now.
You're lost.
Got lost with my spelling.
Right now you're down to current damage assessment from stormwater damage.
Okay, just a quick summary. Since the last few storms, we've had some major damage out in the park. And also around town to some city property. So I got a hold of Mo Perm, and she adjusted too. They come down, so I gotta get estimates. The park's pretty much maxed out on damage. They only had 18,000 in coverage, which blows my mind. But, so I just gotta get an estimate what it's gonna cost, if anything, or what they're gonna give, or what they're gonna approved because our coverages go through 2 different insurance companies, which is kind of confusing. We use one, but it goes through a custom specialty with rider insurance, so. And City Hall back here, where that tree hit that fascia, and then the leak over here, and the leak right there. So, and then down at the plant, a couple issues, like the UV room and stuff like that, so.
Oh, yeah, good.
So once we get that, I'll get you guys a number.
Super.
Other than that, do you have anything on it? Have you noticed anything? Oh, road-wise, yeah, that one down there, the fourth road by you,
Yeah.
it is horrible. I mean, it's,
The potholes are growing,
and then below there, we walked down there, me and Hannah, Sean, but that old bridge looked like in 100, and it's starting to get pretty rough, so we're gonna mow and see if we can try to, shore that up a little bit, but the top, I don't even know if I can get full patch to stick in that, because we've got 1/2 skid left. So I don't know what you guys want to do.
Well, you probably just do
Do what we can.
for a hole. They're filled with water right now, so it's not really gonna work. As soon as it dries out, there's one that's probably 3 inches deep, I think.
There's one.
Maybe even 2 of them there, so I think the whole world will fit in that one.
Yeah, this one I can crawl into, I think.
No, I'm talking about right before the turn to go over the bridge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're correct, yes.
Yeah, so those definitely need to be filled immediately. The potholes, the longer you let them sit, the more they break open more and more, so I would fill it with something sticky.
And I do have a little tar left, and we have some of that, that'll get us by temporarily, but some of them, I mean,
You could even put a cone up and just start a fire, a little wood fire, and to burn all the water out. And then
I use a weed burner, heat it up.
Yeah.
And just, anyhow.
But that should be done quick.
Oh, we need to do an amendment for this.
Okay.
Amendment to the agenda.
Okay. We can put an amendment onto the agenda, adding it. Do you guys have any obligations or about adding an amendment so I can get this into Randy? So this is so we can get the payments made to our grant money, and get our grant money back, you know what I'm saying? When April's here,
She was the signer. Well, now we can't get our grant money because we need a new signer.
oh, so I'm making jest because I don't know if I'll be here next year, whoever, you never know, elections change, some of them might vote run against me. More power to them, but they think they can do better.
Okay,
But-
good to know.
So what resolution is that?
10.
10? So it's a motion to approve Jessica, the city clerk, I guess administrator, as the approving authority for managing our grant on this. Is there a motion to approve that resolution number?
I think we should do that.
Okay.
That's second.
Motion made, seconded by Alderman Dr. Duda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. It's adopted, so do you need me to sign that and stamp it?
All right, no, not right now.
Okay, the next thing is under RSMO 109-210, Section 5, about destruction and retention of records over a certain period of years. Jessica knows this real well, and she can explain it to you before we do it, and how it goes. Doc, you can have from have an office as well, retention of records.
Oh, depends on what kind.
Well, and it does depend on what kind and the length of, some are permanent records. Some records are 5 years, some are 6 years. I went on the Secretary of State's website for Class 4 city ordinances, and I have a schedule of records retention that we can follow. Right now, like water bills, little stubs, those only need to be kept for 5 years. Meter readings, 5 years. Old tax forms, 6 years. So we have things from 1988, I think.
19.
And that's just in that room. I don't even know.
We're working on
Basically,
it.
to purge.
We're purging what we can. Obviously, bonds, insurance, anything like that, that's a permanent record. And they do recommend like microfiche or microfilm, or however, but all those water stubs, old tax receipts, or you have to keep a little longer, meter readings, all of these things we've only had to keep for 5 or 6 years. And I did go through that room and have separated what we can destroy, what we need to keep. I've also dated what we can destroy next year.
Oh, good. I'd probably incinerate them in the burn pile.
I was gonna see which direction you wanted to go, because this guy, someone has personal information on it, but I can get it where when we do that, we can sit by there and slowly, but there's a bunch.
I got a big box.
I mean, even in there's stuff from the 1970s of water bills.
Yeah, anyway, you can shred and incinerate or incinerate. It's something small like that, it's probably just incinerated.
But we have to have a approval with our signatures drawn up.
So is that what you were saying here?
No, that's
That's a different one. This will just, she'll type up.
I'll type something.
She'll type up saying authorization for construction under this statute.
Right.
And we'll sign it and, yeah.
I'm also maintaining a record of what, I have a list of what I have separated so far. Because you have to make, in case someone comes to you and says, well, I need my 2008 personal property tax bonds. So this is what, I'll pass it down. This is what I found so far. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's standard operating procedure in every business, to do that, so. Well done.
Well, and this room is a whole nother story.
Where are we keeping that stuff at? And so I'm like,
I'm sorry?
how are you keeping that stuff? I mean, is it boxes, is it in filing cabinets?
Well, it was in filing cabinets and in cabinets. And right now I have it in a box, what can be destroyed. And I cleaned out those cabinets and the filing cabinet to only house what we need to keep right now.
Okay, I guess I'm a little concerned about as far as, what about if there was a fire, how, is there a way to keep those records safe?
No, absolutely not, unless they're on microfiche, they do recommend.
And I thought about that
It's
too.
snap scan. And the snap scan is $80 or something.
Or how many records we got. I mean, I can try to get a scratch and then gun safe, fireproof safe, but,
It'll fill out fast.
It's gonna fill up fast.
is it, the only other option, like our blueprints and everything that was on, the county did agree, Sue agreed, and Judge, the rest of them agree, we can bring it up to their fireproof vault, where their blueprints are. So in case we had a flood or anything happened here, our stuff and originals would be there.
And we would have easy access to that if we needed it.
Yes.
And how often, if that was the case, how often would we need to go there?
Oh,
I mean,
when
if it's something like that, just whatever, I need it, or is it something that you would have to get access to quite often? Would it be?
well, we have copies of, we may have, if we didn't have copies of the originals, we would make copies, but there usually is a duplicate, so we would just take the
Scan
original.
them, and then I'd network with them, because everybody goes there for their other records too, so the courthouse is a common location for stuff like that, so that'd be a great way to resolve that.
And since they offered, I think it was a fair, so that would take some burden off us, and we can keep the copies here, they're paper, and, go from there. But we have to all agree and sign that paper of order of destruction, those retention records. So
Well, if you're curious about, I did print out the retention ordinance and the schedule for my own, so I don't mess up. So I have reference if anybody's interested. If not, it's on the Secretary of State's website. That's where I found it.
Good. All right.
Well done.
Okay. Anything else on your guys' agenda that we may have not talked about since we've been here? I know I had an agenda, but I didn't know if you guys had anything that may have come up or you need to bring up or address, so. Okay. Anything from anybody else? Nate, you have anything?
Nope, just happy to be here.
All right, so moving on to departmental reports. So, emergency management report. I really don't have much other than the storms, but Joe Yodom and also Frankie and Chief Urban, and Tyler, they all been working harder on the storms, and you know, we all been kind of coordinating together. So I've been watching the SEMA. I get emails every day. We're in yellow today. It's nothing like a high risk or anything. It's just yellow. So we do have some more rain coming, but our rain index is really high right now. So of course, I'm sure everybody knows, but you know, it's just we're in that time of the year, it's higher tornadic. So if anything comes of this or anything, I did speak with who's above Felix? Under the governor. Hank Belker called me and asked me, you know, how we were and everything. I told him what was going on with, you know, the park and stuff like that. I guess county failed to realize or something that maybe, you know, they should call us unless they called the wrong number. See what's going on, because there's a declaration of emergency by the governor, and there's a certain threshold, so I don't know if we'll ever meet it, but still, in case we do, then we could have been under that, where that FEMA money is, you know, to help kind of alleviate the pressure of burning up our budget for repairs. So, but Hank's gonna reach out and see if there's something they can do, maybe just because it wasn't, once, you know, he did a damage assessment based on what I just gave him, and then I had, you know, the park and have pictures I sent him. So we'll wait. I haven't heard back, but that's other than that, I don't have nothing to report.
So is there nothing we can do with that park right now until they come down here and look at that?
They already come down, he actually flew in, because Jessica, you know, did filed it, but we had trees, and it's like, what do we do? Do you move them, do you cut them, and everything else? So I called Mo Perm and talked to the main guy at the Mo Perm, and he transferred me to some other one, and they flew in the adjuster. So he got it done, what, the next week, he's here?
For the damage at the park?
Damage the park, here, I went around everywhere where we had all city property. So it's just getting, we're missing some shingles on top of the lab, and it's down the plant, the UV room is back flooding again with water, just issues again, you know, it's the same old thing. Because somebody decided to build it 6 foot under grade, so, but they're supposed to give me a replacement, that's what the insurance company wants, how much it is to fix it and alleviate these issues or replacement, and then send it to them, and they'll say, hey, this is what we got, this is how much you gotta get. So the park is pretty much maxed out at the maximum what we have, at about $18,000, $19,000. I mean, so I don't know what you want to do with all that. It can go back into.
I put it into a reserve fund until,
and then,
well, you know, once everything becomes settled, then we can make a
dispersal from that into appropriate areas, whether it be for labor, manpower, or replenishing our CDs that we borrowed off of, or we had to reduce for purchases this past year. So to replenish, which is going to be reserves that way also. So.
I guess what I'm trying to say, question too is
Sure.
with the park going down there, and right now it's blocked off. You
Yes.
can't get in there.
Yeah.
And Kathy and I were down there the other night,
Yeah,
and it is horrible.
I know it
It's
is.
horrible. And that's why I want to find out, can we move that, the metal piece that's fallen down,
Yeah,
can that be moved? Can we get people in there to get mowed?
that's what we're working on now. It's been catch up on mowing. And the park's kind of outside of mine. I wanted to get the other kind of like this and everything taken care of before this meeting. And then some other spots, but they cut up some wood. Doc is gonna get some of that one big one, I think, still right.
I think there's a couple of them.
Yeah, so that is gonna get cleaned up, and then, Mr. Worley's gonna go down there and get some of the rest of the wood blocks that the guys cut up with the saws, because they've been cutting on stuff too. And he's gonna try to fix that arch,
Oh,
but
The arch is, I don't think, I would just disassemble it. It's got, I think, 4 bolts on each brick post. And because it's just tubular steel pipe with cutout letters in it, so you're not gonna get that back to looking the same way. You're gonna start out fresh. So I would just take that, unbolt it and scrap it.
yeah.
And
Okay.
as long as the adjuster's been out to see it already, then, then just remove it and that'll open it up so you can get in there.
Yeah.
And that's what I was questioning, I mean, can we go ahead and touch that since we've got the.
Yeah, we'll touch, at the time, I wasn't for sure, and neither was our insurance company, which is kind of weird, because we used to have the tree removal, but somebody took it off, but it's all right, we can take care of it. But yeah, I mean, we gotta take the building in the back that's down and all that, and then we're back and mow, so it's just at the time, you don't wanna touch anything, so you taint it, you know. But yeah, it should be getting cleaned up. What's it look like for you? Have you guys been down there, or have they been down there?
We went down there and we did cut some more wood up, but we haven't hauled anything out because people said they wanted it. I can try in this next week to make to where I get the sign down and get, so you guys can get into the park, which probably shouldn't be an issue. But as far as getting down there and picking up the snack shack or any of that kind of stuff, I have not done. Mowing, it's been way too wet and all that kind of stuff, so in saying that, there's things that, like the mowers, with all wet and stuff like that, it's bogging them down real bad, so I had to do some maintenance on them to make sure that they're running properly. But, as soon as I get everything up and going and dries out, I will get up there and take care of it.
You have to power wash the inside of the mower deck to get all the wet grass out of this so it doesn't cake.
I have already done that, and I literally had to go in and take a, chisel and actually break it all loose, and had to do that in order to get all of that out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have been turning and burning and helping the grinders and working on grinding, and they put a little help and bring put that one CMA grinder, which I talk about one thing too, but yeah, I can get out there if you want me to, if you guys want to go in there. I mean,
No, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, if the adjuster's been here.
yeah, I kind of sped it up.
It's crazy.
I sped it up because when Jess said last Friday, I went home and called, luckily they were there, and he's like, when we put a note in, I got a call, he's like, I'll be there on such and such day, or whatever, so I was like, cool. Because otherwise I've been waiting, because I wanted to knock everything out, you know.
I know some of that is pretty high, and I would be a little leery of, you know, snakes, and especially if you guys go back around that snack shack, you know, just be very, very careful.
Oh, there's
That's extremely high.
snakes, and there's sharp edges and everything, so.
But I just want to make sure.
I won't hesitate.
Anyhow.
Noted.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see here. Fire department?
Thank you.
So we had 7 calls this month, 4 medical, 1 fire alarm, 1 MVA, and 1 mutual aid for Ozora, which was an MVA. The other thing is, we reorganized the firehouse. We cleared a bunch of stuff out, but we don't need any more, it's junk. So we've been trying to deal with that, trying to get everything organized up there. I do know that our Active 911 is going to be coming up before long for us to be able to get calls if our radios ain't working. That's the Active 911 is what goes off for us whenever we ain't got radio access. That'll be coming up due here before long. The other thing is too is we have a service inspection on our air compressor for breathing apparatus here coming up too. So that's probably going to have to take effect. I mean, not unless we can figure out things or wherever you guys figure out with the district stuff on that part.
What's the cost on that?
Do what?
What's the cost?
So the Active 911 is, I think, $179
A year.
a year,
Yeah.
which I mean Tyler's on that. The rest of my firemen.
And there's what, 5 extra slots? Is it per slot or just a group?
It's a group.
It's a group.
Yeah, it's a group. So it's like, I think 15 per group
Okay.
slots. So that'll be coming up. The other thing is too is with Tyler here being the police chief, whenever we go out on calls, that I recommend that he shows up to the calls because we've had issues in the past with residents and stuff being combative or whatever. The other thing is too is hopefully, I can't speak on the district's term, but when we do go to the district, I'd still being, he's law enforcement here, and I'd like to be having one seen with us too. Which I will talk to the administration on that, for that part when it comes into effect, but right now, I'd like him to be around. I know there was an issue with county law enforcement about him going out of his jurisdiction.
It's still an issue.
And in my opinion, I think if I request it, he should be allowed. Just like we had a mudslide when we had all that rain on 61. It was on a very bad hillside, blind spot. People come over the hill, I mean, they could ran me over or whatever, or an accident could happen. I called him to come out and assist me because it was going to take like almost 4 or 5 minutes for a deputy to get to me. So he come and assist me until the fireman got there, and then I let him go back into the city limits or whatever. I know there was an issue with that, and I didn't agree with that. Other than that, everything's been going good. Everything's been pretty sound. I hope it stays that way. I know whenever we had bad weather come in, a few weeks ago here, we actually did get the sighting of a tornado in the big field, so pretty awesome. I'm glad it didn't hit us directly. It actually came over the top of St. Mary's here and set down, so it was pretty neat watching something that didn't destroy something. So it was a pretty good little video, about 7 minutes of it, so it was pretty awesome.
I have a question I want to interrupt. We had talked about a couple meetings ago, or last meeting, I can't remember, where we were wondering why the sirens weren't going off. Do you remember that?
Okay, so the thing, anyways, they have a county polygram, basically where these tornado counters are set up. 9 times out of 10, whenever a tornado warning goes in effect for any part of the county, that tornado sign will go off. So if it's up in the northern part of the county, it it sets off, regardless. They can't set them off individually, the way I understand it. It's all gotta be all at once.
They can't.
Because it's through the CAD system.
Yeah.
They did the other day.
Yeah, but it's just, I kind of wish that, whenever we do have something like that, even though if we're not in a tornado warning, in which I know Adam kind of discussed it with some of my dispatcher recently, when we do not have an actual physical tornado warning here, but we see the rotation starting in there, which Jody, myself, and Tyler here, we was actually seeing the active rotation getting ready to happen. So when we announced it that there was one on the ground, it basically was like they did not comprehend what was going on.
I'm trying to argue.
Yeah, they were kind of arguing with him, and then, yeah, so hopefully that gets all squared away in the future here. But honestly, in my opinion, I think that there needs to be another tornado timer put in this town. I know St. Anne's got three or four of them. We only got one up on top of the hill, up at the subdivision. Nobody can hear that. I mean, I can hear it at my house, but it's right there at the hill. But people up in the subdivision, they cannot hear this tornado timer going off with that kind of winds and stuff going on.
Tom Nancy going?
No, I'm talking about this one here. Or not church.
We own
That's our only one.
We still own the one that one.
Yeah, but trying to hook that up, I don't know if we can get a pole big enough.
Is the fire, I bet we get the pole with it with the person.
Well, yeah.
They'll try to put it in. We got 3-phase up there at the firehouse. So, there's 3-phase on that road.
There's 3-phase down at Sable Line. Or the old Sable Line building.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, if we could put one on a pole beside the firehouse and run a line up or something, that'd be nice.
Jody, you have something to say too?
Yeah.
I know you guys are kind of in parts of it.
On the deal with sirens, that has got me peeved. Okay, that's gonna get people killed.
I know.
Okay, they're saying Bloomsdale, a couple times, Bloomsdale was under warning, just the very tip of the county, our sirens are going off. Okay, people are going to start getting desensitized. Okay, they're like, sirens are going off, nothing ever happened. People are gonna get killed. And we need to get with Alan
I've sent them and I've called.
and, let me lay into them, because it's,
Send them an email because they're not always there. I called them at home and they got supervisors at their dispatch center dictating when they can't, because whenever they gave you shit that night or stuff at night, I called up there and said what I said, and magically look what happens. Oh gosh, the polygram turned on. But that theory is not a good theory.
see now,
It's not. No, it's,
several years ago, if the criteria was, if the warning is within, 5 miles or something of that siren, it'll go off, okay? That's the way it was, so if they're telling you that they can't set them off individually,
they can't.
I'll call BS on it.
Because how come it does every Monday, different towns, I hear the PL town, or the,
Yeah, when they do it on Monday, they set PL towns off, all of them go off, because they don't set it tones once, and it'll go, the cast, and then it'll do another set of tones, and they'll do the Westminster
each
Chime.
one of them repeaters they can do a tone, and that.
Yeah.
You know that as well as I do.
Yeah,
You see, the thing I don't like about it, that we can't actually, with our radios, we can't even set that siren off. I mean,
here's what I talked to you about.
Yeah.
Either they get their act together and start setting them off selectively when, the area that needs it, or they can return control, or let us have access to it, so we can set it off.
Yeah, because you're a certified no weather spotter.
Yeah.
And SEMA, you have your cert, me, you, all that. So, and that was my argument, we pay insurance insurance, we pay maintenance, and have to put batteries in that thing. And then still pay them. So tell me how that's fair and we don't have it. I go up there and put my phone jack and probably play Footloose, I don't know. But I mean, that's about it. But I mean, it's getting to the point that you can't hear trucks down
Well,
there.
and the other thing is, take for instance, and I know, I'm up at my job, I know what kind of weather we got going on up there, I know Bloomingdale was getting up above. But, like, her, she calls me and says, hey, is your basement over in the tornado? So I had to tell her, hey, the weather's not bad there, it's up north of us. And Joey's right. Somebody, it's going to cause a conflict, and people are going to get fatalities. That's what's going to happen.
And on the other side of that one storm we had, they warned Paducah, because Perry County falls under Paducah's National Weather Service. But they put a warning out for the Perry County, right up against us. And there was actually a tornado 6 miles southeast, I think it was, of St. Mary, they spotted.
Yep.
Okay, our siren should have been going off. Okay, they wouldn't set them off.
And that's when they,
Because we're in a unique area, we're right on a county line. Okay, and they're like, well, St. Mary County isn't under the warning, we're not gonna set them off. Okay, we got houses that are right on the county line. Perry County is under a warning. We need to be warned. And, but that's something we need to hammer that out with Alan and
Overturn the 911 meeting.
do what?
I wonder if we take that extra set 911 meeting.
You can, that's part of the 911 system, and we pay for that too, just like, I don't know.
Well, I would love to go.
Me too. I would like to get a lot of invites, but I don't, it seems like they forget us down here. They're more worried about other things up there in the big house, so.
Well, I would suggest that the inoperational one be made operational, so we have our own autonomy over this, and then have the ability to respond appropriately.
And I can it's an old blackout for air race, now you remember it, that thing right here for.
Yeah.
Can that be done, Jody? Like 2 systems?
If he can get, I don't even remember where to sign in to set it off at. Because I was the one that set it up to where you set off by radio. It used to be when we had the fire department down here, we had like a doorbell down here. You push it, the longer you hold it, the louder it winds up. But somebody cut the wires, when they moved the firehouse, they cut the wires. And the only thing I could get it where it would only sound for like 20 seconds or something like that and shut off. It wouldn't go for however long. But you said it's 3-phase?
It's 3-phase.
Okay, if he can get it set up, the electrical to it, I can set it up to where we can.
We can find a 3-phase on the other side of town where they can hear. We're good on that, but I'm talking where nobody can hear. Then we got covered. That thing will blow that one out of the water. That thing's loud.
Now, when I was emergency management before, I was looking into getting a siren like what we got here. Back then, it was like 17,000 or something like that.
Well,
I don't know if that's something we could possibly see about getting a grant. It's probably gonna be over 20 now.
oh, easy, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll look into it, because we're still paying insurance on that siren up there. That was hit by a tornado and nobody made a claim to move it, but Bobby told me he would leave that back in 21 in case we ever needed it if we had put it up on the other side of town or somewhere. So, if that's something you guys want to look into, I can see about having it moved and put it in the ground, and there's 3-phase inverters.
We'll probably put a pole up for it.
3-phase converters.
Yeah. Yes, there are. You could even make one. You just need an additional motor next to it that you trip first. Good to see you.
Yeah. So, we'll look into that, but I do agree, you
Usually
know,
about $600, I think.
I mean, Frank, we do have, yeah, 600, yeah, they did what I looked at that. So, Frank, do you have, how much more on, or do you have more on the fire department than anything else?
I'm good.
I don't know if you do. I do agree with everybody, I mean, you know, because you can't hear it. I can barely hear it in my house.
I know back in 21 or whatever, when we did that, I could not hear it up at the gas station whenever.
I couldn't either.
Actually, actively, the tornado was coming into town.
The only thing I heard was me trying to get out of there. It didn't work very well.
All right then.
Police department. Dr. Zen Duda.
All right, so last month I had 96 total calls for service. A lot of those are going to be traffic stops, ordinance violations, whatnot. Really been enforcing ordinance also.
Any up or down from previous months?
It's about the same, probably. Yeah.
Your case looks higher though.
Yeah.
It is true. After we got that report.
And then was able to get back into the LESO program. So that's like surplus military equipment, items, anything like that through the federal government. I had to go back and correct some things that previous officers had messed up a little bit. So we're back in that. I also was able to establish our department with a federal task force, so we can get federal funding through that as well. I have to do some training. It's just online and everything. Another thing, I didn't get a chance to speak with you on this yet. I know I've been talking to the mayor about it. There was a previous city clerk here that had put under the mayor items, post records, like law enforcement records. Basically, he was portraying himself as the police chief, and he filed almost like a grievance with the state of Missouri, negatively impacting Adam and his career. I've been working with Coach and was able to clarify that, and I was able to officially get Mr. Beckett here retired through the state.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You finally got that cleared up.
And I'd like to present to you your retired student.
I don't know what to say.
Good job.
I've been waiting. I just gave up. I really did.
I had an open investigation on that, and I contacted some of your old departments that a previous person said they made accusations against you, but everything was cleared up, and I sent that to Post and form submitted and everything.
So the previous clerk that was acting as a police chief,
He portrayed himself as that is what
is that why I had so many problems with my lawler's retirement? And
I would probably assume so.
okay.
Wow.
Good job.
So they did-
Good job.
So am I really on post? You got me retired out?
It's retrodated from to March 1st, 2022.
Oh wow.
See, he really does like you.
Thanks, Brad. I'm gonna say.
You can say you won't park in this spot anymore.
Slap the sticker to it. Well, now his badge is shinier than mine, so.
I appreciate it, thank you for looking at it, because that's bothered me for years, and I couldn't do it myself, because I knew there was something not quite kosher, but because of what it was, you know, I couldn't do it, it was a conflict, so, but I'm glad you looked into that, because it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
And then when I had a captain call me from Scott City saying somebody was portraying themselves, years ago, this is years ago, that's you, police, it wasn't you or anything like that. And it's on recording still. So that explains it. because it's held up a lot of things for me. Like my loggers and everything, and it's,
I had a conference call with the post commissioner, and she explained to me the way to do it was to go in there, submit the forms again, and submit all of my findings, and record date it to March 1st, 2020.
so the board said I'm tired out from that day.
The commissioner who I spoke to
The
said that's,
commissioner approved it, and then, so when I log on, it's there.
should say retired.
Oh, damn.
We're gonna get you a certificate, he just told me about that today,
Yeah.
but, you know, we'll get you something to put in for you.
Well, that makes me happier. I guess we just close the meeting and go home.
Well, you should have done an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, Tyler gets to go first next time.
All right, Tyler, you have anything else for your department report? The police car,
Oh, yeah.
the new one?
Can't believe I forgot about it. Yeah, so the Taurus is the one that was donated from Perryville. It's being updated currently. Jody's been working hard on that. It's looking pretty good.
It's outside, you guys want to
And
look?
it's up front right now if anybody wants to take a tour.
So, but yeah,
I'll show off the lights. I don't have a speaker for the siren yet.
License and titles and
I
plates.
got it over here for you.
Plates and all
The
that.
plates, we already had, it's some place for it.
I know.
She says, they're miniature plates, so.
I just.
That's wonderful.
So,
All right.
yeah, it was nice of Perryville, my neighbors from another county, just to give us something like that. It's funny, your own county don't. So,
Great.
anyways, moving on, street department, Doc, do you have anything?
Just the stuff I mentioned, I think we need to address the pothole issues in a couple areas as quickly as possible so that develop into larger ones.
Alright,
And since I'm out of school now, I can finish up the gravel distribution and the shoulder of the road right up there.
Are they gonna do anything up there, right across the street, so that they pull back the summer, that's where they had to dig that street, are they gonna build a block right in there? They had to cut across, as far as the street part. You got a rock in there,
what is the name?
On 8th Street, 8th
Main
Street,
Street. Are they gonna put any more rock in there where
where the street was.
Cassie's house?
Oh, where I dug that one, where, when Frank had surgery, I dug that line up, and all that. I put more rock in that, yeah. But all the lines down there, probably gonna cost, pit, and that's why we I didn't overlay that, we did an overlay last year for that theater. Thank goodness we did, or we'd be tearing out a nice shape. So, I can put, I can see if I got enough potash.
This is just rock.
If you just want some,
I'm just, it's getting right now, I don't want that corner, my room.
Oh, it is?
It did that a lot more.
It said, I didn't know it,
No, it did that kind of more.
I'll get some up there and I'll pack it in real good like it was, you remember how it was level? So I went up, yeah, so, good. Or it's 8th Street.
8th Street?
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to this street or just in general? Park or cemetery?
I have noticed some spots on 8th Street. I don't know if it's what it is, but edges of the asphalt are breaking off and chipping in different places. I haven't yet, I forgot to tell Adam about it today, but, there's a lot of cleanup that still needs to be done from all the storms coming through with grass and stuff like that, which I'm working on that the best I can, but.
Some of the areas that are gonna undermine like that, I think if we just shoulder those areas with grass an inch minus, to pack it in a little bit more so it won't. The same things happen on Cemetery Road, the last rainstorm, because there's,
Yeah.
it's 3-inch overhang on this side of the road in a couple of areas. So the county knows about that, but their hands are full with more serious stuff. I mentioned it to Mark Marbury at the meeting that I went to, and he said he's gonna take a look, but I haven't spoken with him since his taking a look yet on that. But here in town, if you identify areas like that, then I run in with my tractor or whatever and pack it down with a little rock on the side, as long as it's not gonna get into someone's lawn too dead.
I also too, with this last big rainstorm we had, the culverts right there on, down there by the cemetery and that, it was flowing over the road constantly. I think we need to find a way to either blast water. Huh?
That big culvert or over?
The one right there at the curve, when you're coming down, you got the gravel road and the bridge that goes this way, where the old water bridge used to be.
Yeah.
That literally had, that last big rainstorm, that literally had about 2 to 3 inches of water just running over the top of it. Me and Joey tried to clean it out, to try to break it down some, but the pipe going across there is clogged on one side and needs to be actually dug out at the one end. And
This one over here across the street, or across over.
yeah, let's
Are you talking about by the red on 4th Street where it turns?
Yes.
About before you hit Cemetery Road?
I'm not real familiar with the streets.
I'm gonna say the curve down here, third that goes across the bridge, there's no culvert right there at all.
No, I'm talking, if you go down, like you're going up to the cemetery,
Are you talking about Fifth Street?
right there by 5th Street,
Or are you
yeah,
talking about in the curve?
in the curve.
That there, that should be county. That should start.
Ours was up to the length, we don't have the right, they got left,
But it's,
but I don't know.
I mean, the only way I ever got them unclogged was take the honey wagon and fill it up with clean water.
Does the fire truck load them things out good or not?
I mean, I ain't never tried that. I know Jetter does.
Smith wood?
I ain't never tried that.
I just know it's bad.
We did it too, so that's why I asked. Did it, but
I mean, so your equipment, you can do what you want with it, right? I mean, I can just operate it for you, okay?
Can't use any water because our water bill's too high.
there's county down there. There's a creek. Drag.
Right.
Alright, so anything else there? Just that one. I know that this one over here is bad. But
Yeah, this one out here is the same way. It fills up real fast and it is starting
it's
to
not
Is the
draining.
culvert packed with something, or?
it looks like there's a lot of broken rock, like somebody's been pushing big hunks of rock in there. It needs to be dug out and it needs to be back out to where it flows a little smoother.
Okay.
Where it tapers down, yeah. Cause then the other side's full of debris, like sticks and stuff, but
I cleaned some of that out last year and, yeah.
it's just trying to hit them on. One of these days, I'd like to shut down Pine going up towards the, Catholic Church. As they become this way, heading towards like your house, you look left, you can't see much. You gotta go out an intersection. I'd like to shut that lane down one of these days, you guys, and
Just shut the whole road down.
just start cutting that brush back and everything.
Take that way.
Yeah, but, and then if we have any tree saplings, let's just, and then clean it up. I should open it up, shouldn't it?
We used to clean it all the way back to where you said stop sign and look all the way up the hill.
The barrels, yeah. Other than that, the guys, I can say I've mowed a lot, what they could. It looks good to me.
Oh yeah, that's probably the best I've seen it.
I mean,
The mow job.
for what they've had to deal with and just clean covers and also dealing with sewage stuff and helping Frank too. I mean, it's been a lot, but it's been hard beating this rain and just trying to keep things at bay. It's like prioritizing and getting the graveyard ready for Mother's Day and, City Hall and manicure,
Is Saturday, Sunday, Mother's Day?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just, juggling around this rain is massacre. So, but Eric's been working like crazy and working with Frank too, so, which I guess that will, if we don't have anything else on the street, Eric. Okay. One thing, we'll just do water and sewer report. Buddy's in, Buddy Frankie.
Yeah, so, we did get the, I don't know if you guys haven't told you or not, we did get the, water issue fixed at the tower. Tower dropped out on us. Our communication, telecom down there at Cedar Plant was not working for us, it wasn't calling us. We would have found out sooner about it. Thankfully, Eric here was down there at the time whenever it started going off. And he called me, didn't know what the heck was going on. So we dropped out pretty tremendously on the tower. 1 plus tower 2, we dropped out, but we did not get down below DNR's pressure where we have to boil water. The transducer went out. We got it replaced. While we was in the process of replacing that, we decided, since the water level was down far enough, we decided to change them chemical feed tube, so that way we wouldn't be wasting so much water trying to get it out, because there's still quite a bit of water that we had to let loose to do it until we got it done. Test and stuff, we coming back good on the water stuff. The chlorine's been good. We've been having, one minute we have low usage, next minute we're up high and then drop back down. I don't know if somebody's pulling something off of a hydrant at nighttime or something, or during, midday, nobody's catching them. I know the railroad's done it before to us. I know the boring crew's done it before to us, but we haven't caught nothing. I mean, Tyler hasn't said nothing or anything. We haven't seen nothing. But the other day we had 43,000 gallons go through, and it was like, what the heck, because the day before we only had 12.
Oh, wow.
And, yesterday we had 24,000 go through, which that's the normal usage. Me and Adam, we've been keeping an eye on this water going across from that hydrant. We're not picking up the chlorine right now. Because I got the chlorine a little bit higher than normal, because we're not making it, the chlorine is not, the residual is not making it out to the other tower and staying up like it needs to be to be in our requirements. So it's just a little bit higher. So I know a couple people have called me about smell chlorine. Normally it's smell chlorine, that's because chlorine's low. I went out in the subdivision, checked a couple spots, and we was down lower than what I needed to be, so kind of bumped it to get it out there. So anyways, but everything's been good on that, knock on wood. Sewer, dealing with the issue with the UV room. It's not flooding actually back from the creek. It's where the engineering part of putting the pipe in under the ground to come from the effluent box from the actual lift or the mixed liquor ditch and all that in the effluent box. It's bleeding water back through. I don't know if they didn't put a seal around it or what, because I didn't actually get to see them put that in the ground. Don't know if it's deteriorated or what, but where the gravel coming through the concrete there, that's where it's bringing in the water, which we got a sub pump down there, but there's probably that much water still standing in the floor. And I mean, it's got a, which the pit's not deep enough for that sub pump anyway. I think the kindergartner could have built a better one. But other than that, that's been good. The rotor down there, we are gonna have to change the bearing out on it, on rotor 1. When we had that last big rainstorm, I was actually, and saying again, I was having Adam kind of keeping an eye on things back and forth, because we had water issues up there too, but the water came so fast, 12 inches of rain or whatever it was, we got, turned around and actually blew the bearing in that rotor. So the rotor was giving us a problem before. I'm trying to limp it, but now.
Does that go with the storm?
Yeah, that's why I needed an estimate on it.
Yeah. So we're getting an estimate on that. I gotta call Bandy Vendor, a guy from Bandy Vendor does all that. After a while here, I didn't have time to call him today. Anyways, so I have to call him. The other thing is too, is we got grinders down. Can't help it. Where they're located at, I can't get into them because of the rain. The hillsides are wet and stuff, and I'm trying to get to them. We did have to I thought it would be an easy one to do yesterday because we thought it was just hung up, but the motor was out. We had to put a new one in there, which was at the CMA hall. With me being up on a flat spot and I put almost 8 to 12 inch ruts in the yard, I can imagine what the hillside's gonna be like trying to work off the hillside. So we got 3 more that we're worrying about. We're trying to get to them as soon as we can here. And I know Mother Nature's calling for more rain Monday. So, but yeah, we're trying to get the issues resolved. So
How many binders do we have down?
I got 3 of them down right now so far.
3 down.
We changed out contactors on a couple of them, relay boxes, got them back up and going. I know I had a couple of them in the apartment, float were hung up with grease. We got them undone and got them back in operation, but we do have 3 of them. Well, I know one's for sure done. The other one, I don't know if it's hung up or it's doing the same thing as the CMA hall did. And then we got one down on Mulberry that we gotta do that's on the electrical box and stuff and probably put new wire in it. So hopefully, but I'm hoping it's not a grinder. I'm hoping it's just a wire. That's all I got.
Okay.
Frank, if you talk to that guy, see how much it would make, like repairing that shaft, that one rotor shaft on the whole side, taking that out, making it true. When the guy came up, because it's out around.
Yeah.
And then the concrete, but they were to repair all that. That's what I need.
I don't know if you have to repair that or you might have to get Mike to turn around and look at that to engineer because that's like trying to rebuild concrete.
Well, I talked to Mike, he said, if we can get it, if they were to replace that rotor, pretty much, that's what I would need for this. But it costs some labor, because that's what the insurance.
We got all Kyle, and he's going to do.
Okay, I didn't know if you were calling me,
Well, I didn't get a chance to call him.
No, I didn't get it, so.
Meet your appointments.
Yeah, so, all right. Since Alderman Helm, so no longer Alderman Helms, he's no longer here. Kathy, how are we gonna do this? Administration, I guess me and Jim's is gonna be just working on that with Jess, on that stuff. But
Did you all have a meeting with zoning or something like that?
We did hear some,
What were you guys working on with Brian?
we were working on a betterment committee, which is what we were doing, like activities and betterment, we didn't do any zoning. Well, we met about 4 times. We've come up with some ideas. Well, we were going to do one at the park, so that kind of shut it down. Nothing's concrete. We bounced around some ideas of what to put on the schedule. And as of today, I don't know, it's just kind of...
Well, with the park thing, what was that stuff?
We were talking about doing the 4th of July.
that can still happen, we can get it done.
And that's why we were going down there to look to see about parking and things like that, where we could shoot the fires on that, which way, which direction, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Ball field probably close to
That's what we were thinking, and how to park, have everybody facing outward.
Yeah, we talked about, sectioning off parks, the parts of the grassy area where they would have to park, pull in and park behind. So that way at least they can face going out of the park,
Not backing in anybody.
not backing in anybody, being able to leave, pretty quickly. But that was the reason why we had gone down there, just to look and see. I'm like, wow, that's going to be a big undertaking right now. I mean, big.
It was, the big inlet after that.
Right.
What about doing stuff on the island? Like doing like a reciprocity thing with them or something? Like the church grounds or whatever to do fireworks there? That's, or...
I don't know if the church, there wouldn't be anything as far as the Baptist church, or where.
They won't, that's through the church and that's through, I don't know what allow us, yeah.
Someplace, well, with fireworks, it's nice to have something like open, where you can see it going on up in the sky and stuff. And when you're in a pocket of like a small field with trees all the way around it obstructs some of the view. So if he had another area as like a backup that was more wide open, that might be another alternative.
I don't know who to contact over there to do that.
It would be,
Oh, that's true.
down below there, Sue Ellen. Down below the hill.
Klein?
Yes.
Yeah. Or Brown? Yeah.
See, would that be, why would that make a difference for?
Illinois may have, I think, I'm not sure on the firework wall, but I was approached also by a committee that operates the Main Sprint and also their go-karts for kids and that whole association, because I guess there was some going on separation between the two parties, so they're looking for ground. And they pay for the insurance, they pay for the fencing, they do everything. Pay for all the stuff, the track.
JC's?
For down the park,
Yeah. Or we can possibly find something else, so that way, and we get so much off of that as well. So it's another thing to think about.
Oh, there's the old St. Mary Park thing, to that field in front of Marion's old place. We're across from your place.
that was another park.
Yeah, isn't that a park?
Yeah, I officially it was part of the old
Well, we
park.
talked about it, but I thought you said we couldn't shoot anything toward the,
No, I'm talking about, what are you talking about? Shooting?
are you talking about
Fireworks or
You're talking about
golf carts?
Oh, fireworks.
Okay.
I don't know where the old park is. I don't know where that's at.
You're talking about like on
I got an old historical picture of the Parkwood.
The grassy area. Files.
the word DG.
Oh, okay.
So
Both are really short, there's parking on both sides of that street.
Which direction did you file fireworks? Because me and Arnie said you couldn't file toward the,
yeah, the wildlife reserve,
Yeah.
and there's an eagle nest over there on wildlife reserve and stuff.
Oh.
And
yeah,
that
you
eagle.
want to shoot for the river, but
We used to do it in the park, it was controlled by the fire department, but I mean,
Just good idea.
you know.
Moving right along.
All right, so, I mean, with this committee, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to have somebody else?
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I didn't know if we didn't do that.
Brian still might want to be involved with this, you know.
I mean, because it can be citizens can be involved. So,
Okay.
Good.
Mr. Schultz, you're also good in your business and everything, and you got a big event coming up as well.
Yep, we do.
You come on up.
Yep.
Come on.
Come here out of the corner.
So, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Nathan Schultz, pleased to meet everyone that I don't know.
His dad was Robert Schultz, Bob Schultz, was Aldermen, so.
Yeah, 14 years or something.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, so the redheaded guy.
Yeah. You've had, what was that last one? You had food trucks and everything?
So last Memorial Day, we had a food truck there as well as multiple vendors outside at our business. If you haven't seen Facebook posts about it or seen that at our place of business, we have, we'll be open usually with extended hours, and then we'll have multiple vendors outside.
Is that the 100-mile Highway 61 thing?
So during the 61-mile yard sale, we set up and do that, and that's kind of like our biggest sale of the year.
When's that coming?
So that's at the end of the summer, Labor Day weekend. And then Memorial Day weekend this year, we're bookending it. Bookending the summer with 2 sales, and I was telling Adam a while back, we're really trying to bring a lot of people to town. I think that it's really possible that you can spend an entire day in the same area if you really try. And that's St. Genevieve and Perryville don't have a corner on that market. So, but we got that coming up, and we're really excited about it. So,
Awesome.
yeah, thank you for getting before.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me? Nathan.
And I try to share like your events and everything. And I don't know how many vendors you get connected with food vendors and stuff. And I thought about like having, I don't know, they had summer festival and different things. And
Yeah.
a beer garden and stuff back then. But, I just didn't know if you had a contact or, I
So
don't know what you think about.
we did have a food vendor there last time, but what we kind of found is there was, because, the gas station next door sells a lot of food.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, we don't want to put them out, they're our neighbors, so we don't really have food trucks there as much anymore. But I mean, I did ask around, so I did plug myself into that a little bit if anyone's interested in doing that.
I would like to have something, I don't know, we need to do
Depends on the
something.
communities, they have like, cheeseburgers and pizza basically, and that's it, so.
They do not have french fries.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
I know, how can you have burger and no fries?
Yeah, yes, yeah, the chips, indeed, but, yeah.
But they don't have burritos.
No.
What was yours that
It was kind of different, it was like hot dogs and stuff like that, it was kind of fair food.
had? I know in Farmington every Thursday at that one place, they have the big food truck corral and everybody goes there for lunch. I mean, it's everything. I get sick and broke.
Yeah.
Because, it's just like every food you can.
Well, it was just like, I was down there.
Thursdays and sometimes weekend, but every Thursday you go up there Farmington. They have street tacos.
Well, I'll tell you, I was down here setting up these signs, because we set up, we added signs around, pointing people up there towards the shop. You'll probably see me up there tomorrow. But, what I did notice is during the gravel classic, the sheer amount of people in town, there were a lot of people. I know Bader's had some porta johns set up and stuff like that. That was really interesting. You may be onto something. People watching that, you could maybe build something around that. I'm no professional event planner or committee.
I just wanted to, hear your consensus, what you thought, what vendors you went through, if it was a coalition of vendors or.
Yeah, honestly, I just went around Facebook and asked certain people. And of course, with some of that, I got like an immediate no, because it was sort of a small community, but I think that's kind of short-sighted, and there were other people that thought that as well.
Yeah. It's like, I understand.
Yeah.
While you're here, I want to present you something.
Really?
That was your father's. And I think that you may like this as a keepsake, because your dad never took it. So what this is this old placard when he was alderman. He's no longer with us, so I want you to present you with this. Since he's 17 years as alderman.
I do appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and I know that'll mean a lot to
Let her know. So there you go.
Sure, and we have something for you next time.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're a former employee.
I was one of the first employees there, or really was.
We still have the same pine saw. Well, thank you, that was a great deal.
That's what I figured maybe. It's not much, but it's sentimental, and he did several things for this town, so.
He was always growth-minded and
Yes, and
always practical too.
yes. So I think it's small, but it means a lot.
Means a lot.
So,
Thank you very
you're
much.
welcome. Does anybody have anything else? Because if not, we can do a motion to adjourn.
Take a motion to adjourn.
All right.